When a giant planet was barreling straight toward Blue Star, so the system dropped humanity onto 10 square meter islands. These floating islands were meant to make them lords. Others woke on bare dirt, but he woke somewhere completely unexpected. His dog rang rang, and a tank of fish crammed in beside him. Then the system named him Seo Hyuk and commanded him to rise and become a god. His well became unlimited water, while his cardmaster class turned every defeated enemy into a soldier card, letting him march a massive army from island to island. He had the one legendary start nobody could ever copy, but real quick like the video and subscribe to support the channel. It costs nothing but helps a ton. How did someone like him get this far? It all started with a single moment. A massive planet was barreling straight toward Blue Star, far too giant to destroy or deflect. The news had screamed about the end of the world for so long, it became an undeniable fact. But knowing the end is coming does not make a normal person end his own life. After all, there are 100 ways to die, but as long as your heart is still beating, you will never choose starvation. His ground cages come up. Packed solid, the absolute best haul he has ever pulled, yet he feels nothing about it. The fish and shrimp that used to dart away from every shadow have stopped being careful, crowding toward any scrap of food. When he lifts them out of the water, they only flick their tails a couple of times, as if filing one final, desperate note with fate that says they tried, then they go completely still. Even the fish seem to know death is coming. So they have decided to just lie down and wait. He speaks to nobody but his hands. Keep working, covering the full bucket with a breathable lid. Since the cages still hold more than it can take, he carries the bucket in one hand and drags the cages home in the other, no longer caring if they tear. He calls Rang Rang to come along, wondering out loud if he will ever get the chance to set these cages again. Rang is a stray he rescued 2 years ago, smarter than any dog has any right to be, and he was named the day he was taken in. The load is brutal, and he walks a solid 20 minutes before making it back, his arms feeling completely numb. He hauls the catch to the well, pouring the bucket into the massive plastic tank beside it. The rest goes on the ground to fry tonight before he changes into slippers on the platform, peels off his filthy jacket, and tosses it onto a mountain of unwashed laundry, then heads inside to rest. That is when a gate to the divine realm tears open in the sky out of nowhere, and every human on Blue Star lifts their head in the exact same instant, even people sealed deep in dark, windowless basements, as if some invisible hand turned all their faces. Seconds later, a flat electronic voice echoes inside every single skull on the planet, announcing that the apocalypse has arrived and giving them 10 minutes to choose yes or no, to transfer to a new world and try to survive. Survive, just that one word proves that wherever they are being sent, it is definitely not built for peace. It pretends to be a choice, but anyone who wants to keep living has to say yes. He agrees the very second the voice finishes repeating itself, because no matter how brutal that new world is, it beats staying here while a giant planet erases this one. Blue Star is absolutely done for, faced with a reality that flips everything he once knew. What else is there to do but believe it? The system voice returns the very instant he chooses, announcing he has 10 minutes to gather any willing creatures to follow him along with his supplies inside a 10 square meter circle centered on him. Those animals will be his companions, and these supplies his single lifeline. The clock is already ticking at 9 minutes and 22 seconds. Just 10 minutes without a single second of warning, but whining gets him nowhere, so he shuts his mouth and starts hauling, because survival means food and water first. But when he digs through the kitchen and finds half a bag of rice, he freezes. That is when reality strikes. He has got almost nothing left to eat. His stomach drops as Rang Rang trots over, pressing against his legs, trying to comfort him the only way a dog can, almost like forgetting how jittery he was these past weeks. Animals always sense when something is wrong first, and word is livestock has been going mad everywhere. The ones that could break free ran off, while those trapped in their pens turned vicious. But Rang Rang stayed loyal and never left. He lost his parents before being old enough to remember them, and his grandfather raised him all alone. Not long ago, he sold their grain and went to town for medicine and spring seeds. But his grandfather passed away while he was gone. By the time he and Rang Rang made it back, he never got to see the old man one last time. Then came the rogue planet and the news that it would scour Blue Star down to bare rock, leaving no trace of humanity behind. So the experts went on television, telling everyone to stop fighting the end and enjoy their final days. Why would anyone bother stocking up on food after that? And that was the ultimate trap, right when humanity was teetering on the edge of giving up. This strange new world showed up instead, and get this. This is the first time he ever believed the experts, and they completely ruined him. Now he is fighting back tears in his kitchen, because at the one moment it mattered, he has nothing stored away. He had a pen full of poultry once, but one guy and a dog who fully expected to lie down and die ate their way through almost everything, leaving just a single hen and a rooster. The hen is still tied up inside. Tonight was supposed to be a feast: braised fish, shrimp, and chicken stewed with mushrooms. He had to be incredibly sneaky because his rooster is a monster. Even Rang Rang gives the bird a wide berth. That little hen is his sole weakness, the thing he protects with his life. The beast attacks anything that comes close. He only snatched the hen because the rooster is just a bit slower in the head than he is. That is why the rooster gets left behind. He would never admit to being terrified of catching that aggressive bird barehanded. Even if he raised it himself, he cannot stop now because a simple hammer might be a lifesaver. Living in the countryside should have stacked the deck in his favor, a whole hand of good cards, except when his turn came, he played a massive trump card as a single, throwing the advantage away. Regret is useless. If there is no food, he is not leaving behind the pots, the bowls, the ladles, the soy sauce, the vinegar, the tea, the axe, the pickaxe, the heavy shovel, every survival tool he owns, plus clothes and blankets. How did he forget the water and the fresh-caught fish he almost left something that vital behind? He piles everything in a heap, not caring how it lands, with his internal clock reading 3 minutes and 23 seconds. He cannot draw much water from the well in time, so the giant plastic tank is his best bet. It already holds plenty of water and those river fish. He dumps it in, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. The tank is far too heavy to drag once full, so his only play is to bring the supplies over instead. There is no time to think, so he grabs a rice sack in one hand and an iron pot in the other and starts running, yelling for Rang Rang to help haul the rest to the well. Amazingly, the dog understands him, clamping the backpack strapped tightly in its teeth and dragging it alongside as they run. His poor fish trap gets dragged the whole way home, completely battered. It finally splits open and a pale green catfish squirms out, flopping across the dirt to the edge of the well and deciding it is too tired to move any further. Years of use have grown a fine green moss in the cracked blue bricks around the well, matching the exact pale green of that fish. On 4 fast legs, Rang Rang is already waiting at the well while he is only halfway. He tells the dog to make another run, and it bolts back before he even reaches the edge. Just as he goes to set his things down by the tank, his foot slips out from under him. His left calf cracks hard against the stone rim. The supplies fly from his hands. His weight pitches backward and the bottom drops out of everything as he plunges into the well. The shaft runs 5 meters deep, narrow at the mouth and wide at the bottom. Water rises to his neck, so he is in no danger of drowning, but he takes some brutal knocks on the way down, and the pain is nothing compared to the mounting panic in his chest by the time he shakes off the daze. The countdown still reads 1 minute and 36 seconds, with so little time left. In this state, there is no climbing out. He has no idea how to survive a new world from the bottom of a hole. Rang Rang's barking cuts through his spiraling thoughts. The dog looks down with an impatient face. Somehow that stubborn look makes him smile, because at least he is not alone. So he lost his supplies. So what? Worst case, he can scrape together more on the other side, and that handful of things he grabbed would never have lasted long anyway. Survival and exploration are surely the whole point of this new life. Just bringing Rang Rang along is enough. His head clears. He shouts up at the dog to grab a few more things and jump in. After him, they are about to go live in another world where delicious food is waiting. The dog yanks its head back and turns to run. There is no way it understood all of it, but delicious food, that it understands perfectly. The single most delicious thing on Rang Rang's menu is the chicken he used to stew. The hen, wings and legs bound, has no fight left, waiting in the kitchen for the end. And Rang Rang does not care at all about her feelings. It bites her neck and drags her toward the well, but the moment the dog clears the doorway, the rooster spots it, seeing his beloved hen clamped in the jaws of that infuriating pup, and loses his mind. A chaotic chase of chicken-pursuing dog erupts across the yard. Even after Rang Rang leaps blindly into the well, the angry rooster, who is Mortally afraid of water, charges right in after them without hesitation, all for love. By the time this absolute circus ends, the countdown hits 0 and his mind is sharp and clear, but no matter how hard he tries, he cannot open his eyes and his arms and legs refuse to move, like he is trapped inside a deep, heavy dream. A strange voice welcomes him to this floating island and tells him to treat this place like a survival game where he might evolve or meet his end. He has no clue how a person is supposed to evolve, but as for dying, he has already faced that. Either way, staying home was impossible, and the message made it clear that death here is very real. The system warns him that his current territory is a tiny 10 square meter floating island, while congratulating him on becoming a lord in a space so tiny he can barely lie down, making it hard to see what there is to celebrate. But the voice explains. Apparently everyone gets a starting item, and helpless dependents join their family. It then goes on to list everything he is set to receive as a newly appointed lord. He gets a random skill, a conscription camp, a crystal platform, a lord token, and 10 points of divine power. The system warns that if he wishes to survive, to thrive, he must conquer everything, though the exact details remain a mystery. The system wishes him to become a god. This strange series of announcements leaves him completely frozen. He holds still, terrified of missing a single word. Every word matters, but they are also maddeningly incomplete. But that final wish to become a god makes his blood run hot with excitement. Can a mere human truly ascend to godhood, and what would he even become? When the voice finally fades, his body feels light, with every injury completely healed. He is out of the well now, standing on solid ground beside his dog, Rang Rang, and the 2 chickens, all of them tightly packed onto this pitiful little plot. The dirt under his feet feels familiar enough, but everything past the island edge is absolute nothingness, an endless abyss of thick cloud and mist. This is the new world. A floating sky island was the absolute last thing he could have guessed. He cannot tell if the white void is fog or clouds, only that it is completely opaque. Yet here is the strange part. Despite always being terrified of heights, he feels no fear whatsoever right now, yet none of his burning questions are being answered. Clearly he is no chosen protagonist, since he lacks a private cheat system. That announcement was spoken to all of humanity at once, not just to him. Still, the blow is softened by the fact that everything he assumed was lost actually came with him. Most shocking of all is the old well, sitting right in the center, eating up half his precious space, yet he is absolutely overjoyed regardless, despite having never lived. Because anyone who has watched survival shows knows how priceless clean water is. Though falling into the well cost him most of his supplies, obtaining it was a massive victory in this wave. The structure itself is quite narrow at the very top, at the bottom with a mouth less than half the base size. This bottleneck is the only reason they fit. Next, he takes inventory of their remaining gear: half a sack of rice, about 20 caddies, a wok and a backpack, a quilt, 3 sets of dirty clothes, 2 pairs of shoes, a pulley rig, a wooden bucket, the big tank, fish traps, 2 chickens and 1 loyal dog. Looking down into the traps, he notices several fish still swimming. He carefully pours them straight into the tank, unwilling to let a single one die. As possible, in this wilderness, every bit of fresh food is life-saving. Having a stable supply on hand gives him a much-needed and deeper sense of security. Since Rang Rang never fully zipped the backpack, only 2 seed packets survived the trip: Chinese cabbage and chili peppers, yet he is grateful. In the end, the backpack, the quilt, and those 2 chickens are all items he owes, solely because of his loyal dog, on a floating scrap of land this tiny. Having companions is a true blessing, and that proud, loud rooster has earned his keep. Even with his arrogance, he addresses him as Lord Chicken. He pats Rang Rang's head, telling the creature without hesitation that he is his lucky general. His belongings are sorted. Now, he turns to the 3 floating objects. These are starter items. He reaches out for the smallest one, the token. Seeing it up close leaves him completely speechless, because this so-called token is basically just a cell phone. Suddenly, a new electronic voice speaks. A mature female voice explains that he has successfully merged with his Lord's token. He has unlocked a probe skill that reads any item. The system instructs him to place the Lord's crystal platform in the conscription camp to recruit his first soldier. He really likes this skill. A pretty useful tool, but since everyone has it, he feels average. Standard procedure, but he still needs to place down the crystal platform. He grabs the cylindrical platform. Surprisingly, it feels like it weighs absolutely nothing. A phantom about 1 meter tall flickers into existence, its details unfolding in his mind. This primary crystal platform is the core of his territory. Destroying it means losing his lord status, so he must guard it. With 500 health, it features a dimensional trading space for items, with other lords requiring his token to operate and allow future upgrades. The probe is handy, but this platform is so fragile it worries him. It has 0 defense, still, he has to set it up to progress. Besides, no lord in their right mind would ever turn down trading. He quickly clears out a corner and places the 1 square meter platform. Next comes the conscription camp, the final starter gift. It demands 2 square meters, making his cramped lot feel even tighter. The probe reads it as a primary camp, recruiting level 1 spearmen. 10 free recruits are ready, plus 1 free soldier every single day. Beyond that, he can spend 5 pieces of wood, 5 pieces of stone, and 500 grams of food and purified water to summon even more recruits. Upgrading the camp will unlock much stronger and more advanced troop types. He summons his first spearman. Immediately, new messages start rolling in. A level 1 spearman has officially joined his ranks, completing the initial lord task. This unlocks several token functions, along with a random profession book, a random specialty card, a sale tree, and a gold-producing stone. Everything is bound and untradeable, but he gets 10 divine power. So the rest of his rewards were locked behind this camp setup. But what are these extra items? A sale tree, a gold stone. This feels exactly like those games he used to play, except now it is real. Virtual reality has become real flesh, and his small space is packed. Now his eyes land on the warrior conjured right out of thin air. The warrior stands in gleaming armor, a level 1 spearman. Stats show 6 health, 3 attack, 0 defense, and 1 speed. His daily upkeep requires 100 grams of food and purified water. A warning notes that these soldiers are mindless, unable to speak. They are simple humanoid weapons, relying entirely on their lord's attributes. The upkeep looks tiny now, but things could get expensive quickly. Once the numbers grow, it will turn into a real weight on a lord at his stage. This whole set of armor looks like divine gear, but somehow its defense is 0. It reads 0, but once he reads the description, his interest drains away. Because a humanoid weapon that cannot even hold a conversation completely silences him, they are pathetically weak, but having them around beats nothing, even if only to soak up hits. And only when he grows stronger will a troop type like this actually mean anything. There is still plenty he has not worked out, so he pulls the specialty card out of the platform, bound and useless to anyone else. The probe shows that a specialty card, once used, turns a random item in his territory into a specialty. It cannot target intelligent life forms and asks him to confirm, so he confirms and the card dissolves into a ball of light that drifts in slow circles around his territory. Settles onto a catfish in the tank and vanishes. What just happened? It said it could not target intelligent life, and yet the probe states the fish the light struck is a freshwater catfish, a common item rich in nutrients that significantly reduces hunger. That is the entire description. This plain it cannot be right, but when he glances over at the tank itself, information shows up that knocks him flat. The probe names it a D-rank specialty fish producing water tank that randomly produces 2,000 grams of various freshwater fish and shrimp every single day, and its description practically smirks at him. As long as you keep me full of water, believe it or not, I will give you fish to eat every day with territory prosperity plus 10, and it can be upgraded. Is this the legendary iron rice bowl? Honestly, if everyone got this, who would ever struggle? You could just lie flat and let the fish roll in, except he knows full well that not everyone is this lucky, and now there is a second mystery. This prosperity stat he does not understand. The joy is still fresh on his face while the confusion creeps back. No, that is not right, because by any logic a tank turned specialty should produce 1 tank a day or some quantity of water. So what is with producing fish and only ever river fish? If anyone tells him this has nothing to do with that light orb landing on the river fish, he would not believe it even if they beat him to death. This is a bug from how he used to play games. The main brain caught it and shoved the function onto the tank, and the fish it spits out will never include a species that was not already swimming in there. It is only a guess with nobody around to confirm it, and once the Excitement settles. He remembers his level 1 spearman burns resources every single day. 2, and just like that, the hype dies down. His supposedly easy life cannot even feed 2 trash soldiers on top of himself, but in a new world where everyone is a lord. Even if he never schemes against anyone, he still has to raise soldiers just to stay alive, because only with troops at his back does he feel anything close to secure. He goes back to the platform and pulls out the sail tree, a D-grade treasure 5 meters tall and 50 centimeters thick, unique to the floating island with 1 square meter of island area. Its sail-shaped leaves let the island move at an angle by hand to steer. Its power is 10 kilometers an hour in a straight line with 1 acceleration burst per day that does not stack, outputting 1 piece of wood daily. The higher its level, the faster the island moves and the more wood it makes, evolving by absorbing the wood it produces. Its description practically taunts him. It is a total trap. If he wants this floating island to grow quickly, he cannot touch that wood. It has a set daily output, completely off limits to him. Next, he eyes the gold-producing stone. Feeling it pulls the exact same trick. He is right, but gets no reward for guessing right, just total frustration. This thing is another D-grade treasure 2. It stands 1 meter tall and 50 centimeters thick, sitting on its own tiny plot of land that outputs 1 piece of stone daily. Upgrades mean more stone, making it a key source of rare ore. It evolves by eating its own stone, mocking him. In silence, want better building materials, then upgrade it but do not touch the stone. No expectations. He places both items at the edge of his island, and his 10 square meters instantly expand by 2. He decides to just treat them as background decorations. It beats staring into the endless, empty mist with nothing else to see. But there is a real win here. The island finally has actual power, even if the speed is painfully slow. He picks up the final item, the profession book, and his chest tightens. He can manage everything else, but this choice is tied straight to his future, and the random nature of it makes him incredibly anxious. He has bought lottery tickets for years without winning a single dime. Maybe all that hoarded luck should finally pay off now. His luck really needs to explode just this once as he confirms the use. The system alerts him that he used the random profession book and unlocked the Lord profession card master. He has now unlocked his Lord and personal attributes, prompting him to check the token. Finally, he has a brief second to fiddle with this device. It looks exactly like a modern smartphone and is surprisingly easy to navigate. The very first screen displays the current time. Day 1, 10 a.m. It is 24 degrees outside, cool and pleasant. Below that sit several option panels: information, trade, build, personal, and unlocked. Most of this makes sense, except for that last tab, so he taps personal first. 2 new options pop up: Lord panel and territory panel. He taps the Lord panel. It lists his name as Hook, floating island lord, age 25. Divine power 10 points, leadership value 1 out of 10, strength is at 1, giving him 1 attack, defense is 1, stamina is 1 for 10 health, and speed is 1 for attack speed. Spirit is 2 for 20 magic power. Equipment slots are completely empty. The system warns attributes are not constant. Status heavily impacts combat numbers. He gets that part. Thirst, hunger, exhaustion, extreme cold, and heat will all drag down his combat strength, but in this fresh starting state, things are not pulling him down yet. Card master. It is an unadvanced dark mage class. The spell description reads, believe it or not, I will turn you into a poker card. It consumes magic power to turn friendly non-living entities or defeated enemies into one-time card props. They even benefit from the Lord and Hero tribute bonuses. Hook frowns because with nothing to compare this to, he cannot judge its value, but something definitely nags at him. A skill that does not boost damage or buff his own troops does not seem very promising for a Lord, but turning fallen enemies into cards is undeniably powerful, since this was labeled a random skill and gave a random profession. The system is clearly full of tricks. His combat numbers are bare, and his attributes are painful to see. He taps over to the territory panel for a deeper read. His followers list sits at none. Hero is none, but his pets include his loyal dog Rang Rang and an unnamed rooster. Just 1 spearman. Fortunately, the panel notes that heroes and pets do not cost leadership. A small mercy. The total prosperity reads 50, and when he taps the details, he finally understands where prosperity comes from, even if he has no idea what it is. There is an ordinary water well giving 20 points, a fish producing tank at 10. the sale tree adding 10, a gold-producing stone at 10, and the rest of the resource breakdown laid out below, which he already knows by heart. Alarm bells, the trade and information panels flash red and chime. He taps into the top left panel, which shows a local population of 1,000 people. The buttons for area, world, friends, and alliance sit below. The world channel is currently dark and unavailable. Friends and alliance are glowing but completely empty. Since he has not touched them, within minutes the regional channel has piled past 99 messages. That chaotic flood makes him feel less alone. Total chaos. The chat is a circus where every poster gets a contrarian reply. People thank the system for saving them, only to be told they will die anyway. Others moan about protecting kids and elders, only to get reminded that every follower has a unique specialty. Self-appointed survival experts get laughed at and told to come back when they understand barracks. A whole group admits their lifelong fear of heights has vanished completely. Others are literally hawking their bodies for resources to broke buyers who can only watch. He looks at the sheer number of people struggling worse than him and feels some relief. Classic jealousy. He does not want others starving, he just wants to stay ahead. Anyone living better than he is. But wait, why did the chat suddenly go silent? He spots a small box next to the message field and finally understands. Just 5 messages daily. For a natural chatterbox, that is absolute torture. But his attention quickly snaps back when someone brings up the topic of divine power. Anything with the word divine attached is bound to be incredibly important. He is not going to waste his 10 points without getting the absolute maximum value. A young mother posts, gushing about how incredible this divine power actually is. She explains her baby's specialty is a single feeding bottle that produces milk. 1 bottle was not enough, so she spent 3 points to upgrade it. Now it produces 3. A wave of supportive replies floods in from similar users. They are glad to find others who think the same way. Then, a middle-aged man named Wang Pio cuts in, warning her to spend it wisely. He points out that the barracks mean combat is coming very soon, and she must remember that soldiers are a lord's blade. Talk about a massive trigger. Everyone turns on him. They immediately blast him for being heartless. To a tiny, growing baby, they angrily demand what else a mother could do. Snapping that people who starve to death will not even survive to fight. Pure silence. Wang Pio stops posting, but our main character agrees with him completely. Even if the mother has it rough, Wang Pio's cold words hold real sincerity. Fortunately, the young mother can actually tell good advice from bad, and she replies directly to Wang Pio. She thanks him but explains she has no other choice since her starting specialty is just a basic cotton quilt. She cannot turn a quilt into the water and food they desperately need. After a brief silence, Wang Pio replies, admitting he is just another survivor. He has no right to lecture her, but he still shares some advice for her. Future posting screenshots of 3 distinct items. The first is a weapon, rare Goblin Vanguard saber, tactical gear with an attack +2. Noting his soldiers can also enjoy these tactical equipment bonuses. The second is a card. A C-grade specialty upgrade card, asking if anyone has a D-grade specialty they want upgraded. The third is a rice bag resting on a palm, a special item that carries 100 caddies of grain with 0 weight burden, perfect for marching. After that, Wang Pio goes silent, perhaps out of speaking chances, or maybe just slipping back to lurk, but his showcase lights a fire under everyone, and he just had to show up right after he told himself he didn't want anyone doing better than him. There is no doubt this guy got those items through combat, and he watches with naked envy, muttering that the Goblin Vanguard saber's name alone suggests it must drop from at least an elite monster. The game has barely begun and this man can already take on bosses. Truly impressive, but then he catches himself because he advised everyone to dump divine power into military strength, meaning he must have done it himself. Suddenly it feels less impressive. Even lucky drops are not necessarily worth more than raw divine power, and starting strong does not mean he stays strong forever. Holding on to those sour grapes, he taps into his build panel and what is inside fills him with tired helplessness. The list is fairly complete, showcasing every structure and its attributes. The basic crude wooden house blocks hail, shrugging off some extreme heat and cold, while slightly cutting the chance of getting sick. That tiny modifier is the gap between life and death, but its most important trait is clearing the mist from his vision in a 10-meter radius. With luck, he can spot enemies a step ahead. And paired with his sail tree's acceleration burst, fighting or fleeing. Both become highly viable options, grinding for materials to upgrade to a sturdy house pushes that vision out another 10 meters, a basic workbench produces tools and even equipment, while defense towers and greenhouses can all be built, but two brutal requirements stare him down: land and resources. The cruel reality is that every structure demands a massive chunk of space, with the most basic crude wooden hut requiring 10 square meters of land. And 50 wood plus 50 stone. Honestly, other buildings can wait because the one thing he wants most is a toilet, yet he cannot even lie down properly right now. And doesn't have a single piece of wood to his name. Once he gets a feel for the build panel, it is time for food. Trading for wood would be ideal since nobody can outmatch him on water. Instead of rushing to post, he scrolls the trade panel to study the market. It turns out to be exactly what he figured: food and water are wanted most by a mile, whether for survival or to keep troops fed, since not everyone grabbed what they needed inside that 10-minute window. Wood and stone, needed by everyone, demanded most and produced least, have hardened into the local currency. The rough rate places 250 grams of food equal to 500 grams of water, equal to 1 unit of wood or 1 unit of stone. Close enough, only handful of hot daily necessities keep pace. Things like refined salt, lighters, or containers go for at least 1,000 grams of food or purified water. When he tries to buy, the system tells him he lacks purified water, and after some fumbling, he figures out he must draw the well water out for it to count as a tradable resource. Now with water to spare, no matter how expensive an item is, if it is small and he wants it, he snaps it up. If his territory were not so tight, he would not give anything up so easily, but he has definitely not lost sight of his goal. First, he repeatedly draws water into the crystal platform. Subspace. 1 point of stamina does not get a man far. 4 buckets in, his legs are shaking. Only then does he stop and list the well water on the trade channel. 650 grams of clear water for 1 unit of wood or stone, posting on the regional channel that this brother is collecting building materials. Anyone needing purified water can make an offer. Naturally, this draws a massive crowd. Because the price is genuinely cheap, the channel immediately fills with people mocking his flexing, swearing he will get struck by lightning for showing off. Others snap back at them to check for themselves, calling them heartless ingrates for badmouthing a generous big shot. Complaints, curses, rough men play acting as ladies, and the people he is actually helping leap to defend him. All of it scrolls past without a single reply. Right now, he is sitting by the well curb, setting up a pot, lighting a fire, cooking fish. He chose automatic trading, so the rest takes care of itself. Water from the crystal platform appears in another lord's subspace according to the price, and drawing it out with a container is their problem, not his. At this stage, every survivor is poor and nobody is sitting on a mountain of building materials, so all he can do is gather it bit by bit. As for the extra water, he has his reasons. Because down the line, he will need building materials in far more places than he can supply alone, and sweetening the deal makes people far more eager to trade their goods to him. Since they are all in the same region, they are brothers. Same sentiment as always. He cannot stand to watch his brothers struggle. He is just too kind, but there is something else on his mind he does not say aloud. He knows this Lord game well enough on the surface, but the second he faces real enemies, it will expose him as a complete novice. He has no confidence in getting rich by hunting bosses, but when he saw the city walls and defense towers in the build panel, that path felt tailor-made for him, which means he is going to need a lot of people pitching in to develop his land. He is no protagonist and has no golden finger. Building up slow and steady is not too much to ask, but he is overlooking one massive problem. Walls and defense towers both need a large enough territory, and territory does not expand without battles. He scatters a few handfuls of rice and both chickens perk up. While they are distracted, he turns the probe on the rooster. A pet at level 1, health 25, attack 6. Defense 2, magic defense 1, with a talent skill called Flying Peak that strikes the head, a 10% chance to ignore defense for double damage, and a 50% chance for triple weak point damage on any enemy without head protection. Already boosted by his lord attributes, he is satisfied those look a great deal better than a level 1 spearman's, and the hen reads as an adult hen. Common species, laying one edible and hatchable egg a day when food is plentiful. Exactly what a chicken should do. Both chickens being here, it all traces back to Rang Rang, the rooster most of all, a free advanced troop unit that does not. They do not even take up troop slots, a huge asset, he pats the dog who has been guarding him this entire time, calling him a lucky general once more. He really means it this time, even though the little pup's eyes are completely locked onto the cooking pot. He pulls out a massive fish and drops it into a basin he traded for. While the dog eats, he pulls up his stats, a local breed named Rang Rang, a level 1 pet. His health sits at 25, attack is 6, defense 3, and magic defense is 2, equipped with a unique talent called Dragon Tear Bite. It delivers a fast ambush with a 35% chance to drag down an enemy. It is absolutely brutal against spellcasters, dealing triple weak point damage. Even better, it gets boosted by his lord attributes. That means 2 free combat units if he does not dominate now. Something is seriously wrong. He finally digs into his very first meal in this new world, well aware that many other survivors probably brought their own pets along from the old world. So he is definitely not the only one with an edge. The food is pretty simple, but cooking with limited tools inside a cramped shelter takes a full hour from start to finish. But even as he cooks, his system screen keeps flashing with endless friend requests. Ignoring notifications during a meal is one of his healthiest habits. For everyone else, though, they are losing their minds over his silence, wondering why on earth he is ignoring them. Is it really that hard to move your fingers? They complain. Once full, he rejects every single invitation at the exact same moment. Suddenly, his floating island violently jolts beneath him. Now things get real. An attack, the system demands he rally his forces immediately to crush the invaders, guarding his precious core crystal with his own life. The thick fog surrounding his island suddenly parts, revealing a terrifying sight. Another floating island, twice the size of his own, has crashed and fused into his. Standing on that tiny 20-square-meter rock are 10 short, green-skinned creatures. With grotesque bodies and huge noses, each monster clutches a heavy wooden club. These hideous pests are exactly like the goblins from every game he ever played. At this close distance, he sees the attackers and their territory clearly. But the system only warned him now. The enemy is already at his doorstep. It is far too late to recruit soldiers, and regret hits him like a truck. When the system offered troop recruitment earlier, he never thought to prepare in advance. He looks over at his rooster, whose feathers are standing completely on end. Rang Rang barks hoarsely. He could kick himself for being so careless. Game over. Is his survival journey ending before it even starts? He braces for the worst, yet the goblins only keep slamming against the seam. They simply cannot break through. He stands there completely puzzled, wondering why. A system notification pops up. It turns out he is currently under a 3-day novice protection shield. It asks if he wants to lower it and fight the invaders to the death. Yes or no. It scared him half to death. If a shield existed, why did the system not say so earlier? He grumbles. Still, his mind suddenly clears. Some people just think better when they are in danger. The system probably warned him late because the thick fog completely blocked his vision. Since the shield only showed up once they arrived, it was likely meant as a harsh lesson on the rules. If the system wants him to fight, maybe this first wave is actually an easy starting bonus he cannot afford to miss. If he lets these novice benefits slip, there may never be another chance. He is the kind of man who never wavers once he makes a decision. He needs soldiers first. He will not sit idle. He scans a single goblin that clearly stands out. It is a treasure. Hunt leader at level 3, 30 health, 8 attack, 3 defense, and magic. With 2 magic defense, it deals double building damage. Drawn to anything shiny, especially glowing crystal fragments. The other monsters are level 2 treasure goblins with 20 health, 5 attack, 2 defense, and 1 magic defense. They love glowing things and hate anyone blocking their payday. Talk about terrifying stats. His level 1 spearman, even with his lord bonuses folded in, only has health 16 health, 4 attack, and basic defenses. Brutal. Even with Rang Rang and his giant rooster, the outcome is anyone's guess. But it's possible Wang Po did it. He advised spending divine power on soldiers. He either upgraded his troops or his barracks. Those items he showed off definitely dropped. From high-level monsters, he likely upgraded his camp, but without divine power. He cannot break this deadlock alone, only a master could pull this off. At his skill level in this cramped space, it is flat out impossible. He has nothing to boost his military strength, but thinking of skills. Honestly, he wants to kick himself. He hit his own trump card too well. His 10 spearmen crowd his tiny territory. Meters, his whole family is flattened against the edges. He stands on the manhole. Cover, his pets squeeze onto the water tank lid, and his supplies pile up, leaving nowhere to step. Luckily, these soldiers are mindless. Humans is just wasting emotion. He is going to turn them into. Playing cards, the system consumes 10 mana points to turn 10 level 1 spearmen into cards. They still get his bonuses. Staring at the 10 cards in hand, with the spearmen printed on them, his tension drains away. This is the key. Breaking the deadlock, selling his water, is what allowed him to trade for enough. And trade for resources so fast. Chat was right. Said good people get good rewards. He is quietly thanking them all now. That earlier trade looks brilliant, so he keeps recruiting, since the platform counts as his territory. He just taps recruit. Recruitment in the barracks. The system consumes 50 wood, 50 stone, 5,000 grams of food, and 5,000 grams of fresh water. 10 more spearmen join his troops. The goblins hammer his shield. Apparently, until he makes a choice, they will not leave. The prompt sits there. Drop the shield and fight to the death. Yes or no? He taps yes. The shield vanishes and the goblins finally get their wish. He is terrible at controlling troops, but he is not clueless. In a Lord game, the second he has more numbers, strategy becomes a joke. The instant he flings a handful of cards onto the battlefield, his combat power doubles. His 2 pets are ordered only to ambush from the flanks, never charging. They trade blows head-on. Raw numbers make the final outcome a foregone conclusion. This entire battle is just him coasting because his single attack point can't even scratch the beast's massive defense, but none of that matters because of victory won by drowning the enemy in endless bodies is still a win. He'll turn them into playing cards. The goblin corpses dissolve in a sudden flash of light, replaced by 10 cards in his hand, each stamped with a goblin. 10 magic points for 10 stronger goblin cards. A fair trade any way he slices it. The system tells him he wiped out a goblin treasure hunting squad and perfectly defended his territory. He easily earns a difficult defense achievement, not hard at all. Experience is 1 out of 10, plus 2 attribute points with even more rewards for future achievements. A difficult rating just means the commander's total troop strength averages 1 level below the enemy's. He looks at the 2 joined territories and smiles, because this battle won by mass-producing soldiers and shoving forward went exactly the way he wanted. After the dust settles, he sees the spent cards gone with only 3 spearmen left. Overcommitted and wasting most of his force, but then he pictures Wang Pio's gear in the territory he's about to expand into, and the sacrifices shrink to absolutely nothing. He still thought too simply because the system would never let anyone grow strong this comfortably. It asks how he wants to handle the enemies. Floating island, destroy it for a chance at weapons, gear, daily necessities, and specialty upgrade cards, or occupy it for a specialty in a shot at expanding his territory. His smile freezes because others might get a choice, but he does not. Losing that equipment makes his heart ache. Still, crying solves nothing. At least calming him. After this fight, he has a novice shield, and he wouldn't dare go without night watch troops, except his plot is already swallowed by the well. And if he doesn't take this territory, even sleeping tonight becomes a major problem. Since this is survival, he protects his own skin first. Worst case, he builds houses and leans into defense later. No gear, then no gear. He is no good at leading troops anyway. If he can't be a tiger, can he at least be a turtle? With no real choice, he sourly picks occupy. The system tells him his territory expanded by another 24 meters, and each expansion grants 1 chance to reshape the terrain. His total area is now 36 meters, and congratulates him on a D-grade specialty. Extra large toilet paper, 1 roll a day for territory. Prosperity +1, asking whether he wants to use it. It said extra large and meant it because 1 roll in his hands would last him a year. Dog system. He risked his life for this, but he shakes his head and lets the rest of the sentence die. Fine. He accepts his fate because it is a necessity no matter what, so he can't even work up the anger to curse it. Specialties pulled from monsters can normally be traded, but he chooses to use it and keep it for himself. Looking at the extra 24 meters of bare land and his 2 new attribute points, his mood lifts. Because reluctant as the choice was, it turned out well, and given his rotten luck, even destroying it might not have got him what he wanted, tangible. Visible territory makes him feel way more secure. There is no need to reshape the old ground, so he lays out the new space fast, every bit of it essential building. That has to go up the moment he has room. He blocks off 4 square meters in. He picks a corner and builds a small toilet. The system tells him he needs 10 wood and 10 stone for a simple toilet, odor-free, increasing territory. Prosperity by 5 points, a toilet conjured right out of thin air, and he is facing a scene from a game. He stays calm, smell or no smell. He just wants to enjoy it first. Half an hour later, he emerges refreshed, having already mapped the rest into a clean square. A crude wooden cabin must go up, if only for its trade of clearing 10 square meters of fog. That is non-negotiable. Because even a few seconds of early warning buys him time to react and upgrade to a sturdy wooden house that shelters him fully from wind and rain in extreme weather, a true home, but his materials are already thin, only 14 wood and 4 stone left, not enough to recruit a single level 1 soldier, so stone is clearly harder to find than wood. Attribute points in divine power. Can wait time to restock. He grabs the Lord's token and checks the 99 plus friend requests and curls his lip, planning to ignore the entire lot because everyone is a stranger and a little distance is wise. They all know he is drowning in water, so what if they play the victim, trying to lure him into video chats and teasing? Honestly, who could blame him? It might rattle even his iron will. And then how would he quietly get rich? His finger slides across the screen on its own and lands on someone he recognizes. Even an expert wants to add him. Hard to turn down. The guy must be running short on water, and what if he has good stuff and he misses out next time he is low? That would break his heart, so he eagerly accepts Wang Pio's friend request without once wondering if he will actually. This girl below, that figure, those legs, that face, genuinely not bad, but he still will not accept her request. Next moment, a girl named Gina is in his friend list. We all know he got totally distracted by her perfect face. His hand merely slipped. He opens the trade interface, and the wellwater listed earlier is sold out long ago. The price has shot up to 1 piece of wood for 320 grams, double what he charged, and even then it gets snatched the instant it appears. It is easy to guess this retail trick is mostly from survivors who use their early window to hoard water, clamping down once prices climbed. But with him here, they can keep their water to themselves. Same old routine: draw the well water, put it on the platform, and the first 4 buckets go fine, but when he pushes past exhaustion, his own health drops for a 5th. A system prompt stops him, warning that he is about to overexploit the water resource. This will permanently lower the well's output, forcing him to wait 24 hours before doing it again. What is this? When he watered the vegetable garden every summer, his family's treasured well never once asked him to show restraint, and now over measly 8 buckets, it calls him an overexploiter. Is this a joke? He is frustrated. This damn system blocks him every single time he tries anything. But a thin arm cannot wrestle a thick thigh, and he has to back down because this well is his lifeline to early wealth, and in truth he already knows a common well's prosperity outranks a specialty. Given how tight his territory is, it makes sense the well gets throttled. He pours the 5th bucket back in, and the thought of raising prices dies the instant it appears. He knows other survivors have so little right now, and getting greedy would ruin his reputation for nothing. He wants long-term cooperation, not just a couple of extra grams, so he keeps his price at 650 grams of water per wood or stone. He switches to the regional channel to post his offer again, but right as he finishes typing and gets ready to send, he pauses. Someone is already advertising for him, announcing that the local big shot selling cheap water is back. He warns players to grab it before scalpers snatch up the supply to resell at a massive markup. Grateful comments pour in next to painful groans of those who already overpaid, followed by mocking jeers for buying expensive when a cheap source existed. That's when a man named Seo chimes in, saying that the big shot is clearly special, but questions why he only wants building materials since he wouldn't need this much wood just to recruit units. It leaves everyone whose specialties aren't construction resources and who desperately need clean water, completely high and dry. Another player argues that the big shot is obviously choosing the defensive route, but when CIO claims a tiny 6 square meter island cannot even fit a House and is better off demolished. Another user calls him completely ignorant. Since not everyone faces the same enemies, pointing out the leader of the women's. Legion just conquered a 15 square meter island and destroyed it to get rare, jewel-worthy treasure. The reviews run overwhelmingly in his favor, and the occasional critic gets buried under public opinion and quietly slinks away, watching from the shadows. He is secretly thrilled. He loves watching everyone talk about him. Behind his back, it's the perfect way to see if his grand plans are actually working, and he keeps tabs on every critic, gaining absolute proof that his large 24 square meter territory was worth every single resource he paid. After a while, though, things get less interesting. Scrolling back through the chat history, he spots Wang Peo again bragging about defensive +2 pants and pitching a new mutual aid alliance, urging everyone to add him for private deals before he suddenly disappears. Some rip into him for being too ruthless, recruiting only elite players with useful skills, while others argue that his alliance is genuinely solid, with truth and lies completely tangled up. No outsider can tell what's real. Either way, he has zero interest, but one thing is clear: this Wang Peo really is incredibly skilled at leading troops and winning battles, even if his alliance is still forming. Meanwhile, that gorgeous friend named Gina he added by accident has already built a real organization. She's widely supported because she showed off a special item and shared its entire description for free. It's a structure called the Reinforcement Camp, a common grade alliance asset taking up only 1 square meter. It lets a leader send troops to a member's island through their main tent to defend without wasting any valuable command points. Surely, the restrictions must go beyond defensive battles, but how many troops can she send? Nobody knows that outside her circle, and her group only recruits female members, the Women's Legion. He never imagined the two random people he added on a whim would be such huge figures. In under a day, players already have the influence to build entire factions. Surreal, all the great stuff belongs to others. It seems his only choice is to walk this slow, defensive path. Once a little jealousy sets in, he loses some of his enthusiasm. He browses the market trade listings before building his house. Suddenly, an item stops him dead: degrade black soil. High-quality soil that resists extreme weather and grows crops fast. It occupies just 1 square meter. The trade channel has plenty of other soil sellers, but this is the only listing with special attributes, yet it has sat for hours without a single buyer. Seo Hyuk relaxes, knowing most people in the channel are busy watching. Others pull treasures as their combat power soars, chasing quick loot through treasure hunting since the drop rates are high, but loot is never a stable source, and a dry spell will leave them with absolutely nothing to eat. This black soil also takes up a lot of space, meaning anyone hunting treasure and raising soldiers has no room to farm. Meanwhile, those interested lack seeds, and those with seeds cannot wait for crops to mature. Everyone knows it is good, but for a dozen reasons this high-grade item just will not sell, most of all because it is genuinely not cheap. The upfront cost is too steep and the returns too slow for average folks. But is he an average person? Absolutely not. He is a man with seeds and his own vast territory. Since her stuff is expensive, he decides to haggle, asking if it can be cheaper. He taps contact seller. Yuzin sees his message instantly and feels genuinely irritated, and she has a very good reason, because just 2 days ago she was still staring at his old photo, yet he has no clue who she is. The tall, slender Seo Hyuk was extremely handsome, and her sister's first boyfriend. Back then, her sister's intense happiness had soaked deep into her young girl, feeling the very first stirrings of love, but his family was far too poor. Her parents flatly refused to let them keep dating, and the relationship ended before it could even begin. Out of curiosity, Song Yuzin kept asking after him, and her sister would talk about him endlessly until the young girl knew a startling amount about a man she had never met. Since first loves are perfect, the descriptions were inflated, and Yuzin listened with deep envy. All of it should have faded, but Blue Star started counting down to its end, and when life is about to finish, people always want to look back. In her photo album, after she tossed childhood pictures she could not remember, only her school years remained. At 18, there was not much worth reminiscing over, because under her parents' iron watch, no boy was ever allowed near their precious daughter, so the only man in the album was this brute named Seo Hyuk, a familiar stranger. Since he was a stranger, the strong-willed girl never reached out first, and the moment he Started haggling, she knew for certain he did not recognize her, watching him throw around valuable water while trying to chisel her down on a rare item. Hurts, especially since that black soil represents 5 days' worth of food money. She replies, asking if eating 2 pieces of bread a day is really too much. The text completely throws Seo Hyuk off. He is just haggling over an item, yet she brings up bread. He wonders if something is wrong with this girl's head. Haggling any further would feel a bit cruel. Song Yusin realizes she drifted off track, but she does not want to lose her very first serious buyer. Desperate to make the sale, she screenshots her special soil's description. It is a C-grade specialty black soil, producing 1 square meter of D-grade black soil every 5 days, which accelerates crop maturity, resisting extreme weather beautifully and doubling crop yield when fertilizer is plentiful. Sometimes a single image beats any explanation. He counts on his fingers. Number 1. Bread is 400 grams. 2 a day makes 4,000 grams over 5 days, just tightening her belt before he even counts what her troops eat. For an ordinary person to survive on 2 pieces of bread a day, life is genuinely hard. Pushing the haggling any further would be a bit heartless. Honestly, he does not care about being heartless because everyone is just a survivor now, and talking about human kindness is pure posturing. Same as selling his water cheap, it is a simple exchange of benefits reaped in the long term, but her black soil cannot be found anywhere else, and a few pieces will never cover his needs. Since he needs it, this favor is not one to throw away. Survival cannot rely on killing monsters forever, and self-sufficiency is the true winning path. Why not buy tomorrow? He tells her today's resources are completely gone. If she trusts him, she can hold onto it and sell him her future yields too. He refuses to trade rice and the river fish he produces cannot cover the price anyway. Besides, that fish is his own dinner in Rang Rang, so he would rather trade water for food tomorrow and buy the black soil later. Who knows what tomorrow brings? Is this just an excuse not to buy? Song Yusin startles and grows anxious. A young lady like her cannot simply beg food off him, yet she will not let this buyer off the hook either. Silently fuming, she thinks running out of resources is no excuse when those huge piles of building materials could easily buy food, but she is too afraid. Saying it aloud might make him lose face and get her quietly blacklisted, killing even her shot at his cheap water. All right, that works, he tells her, since he is a big shot. Anyway, she should add him as a friend. He will pull the item off the shelf, so tomorrow, when he has supplies, he can trade with her straight through the friend list. No need to hunt the listings. Besides, he won't die from 1 day of hunger. It is also a test, and she even considered selling the black soil for half the food she planned, because everyone says big shots never add friends. Refusal proves he is insincere, while agreeing gives her a future channel. As long as she has food and drinks a little less water, she can spare the sail tree wood to get her island moving, using divine power to upgrade her barracks and hunt monsters. This is her only way out, a strategy she picked up from living glued to the chat channel. Using the sail tree output temporarily drains the island's power, and an island that does not move a certain distance generally will not encounter monsters at all, and that experts there even share troop control techniques. Song Yusin learned it all and locked it away. Song Yusin is such a familiar name, so why can he not remember a single thing? This familiar, strange feeling is awful. The girl is the delicate, gentle, and very cute type, yet he truly does not know her, because if he had ever met a girl this pretty, there is no way he would have zero impression of her. Song Yusin accepts his friend request, no more agonizing. She has no impression of him either. He was just overthinking. Hungry for a day, that cannot be true. He asks if the system did not give them 10 minutes to gather supplies before they came here. She actually agrees with him, lighting up and replying that it is no exaggeration to call her the poorest survivor alive, with her random specialty turning out to be black soil. Says it all, luck always comes around. He replies casually, chuckling to himself. His own bad luck had suddenly turned into a total blessing. He got a clean water well out of it. Meanwhile, she clearly lacks luck. Even if her black soil is a decent blessing, things are tough starting out. But if she grinds through this brutal early stage, her land will only gain value. Sonasan says she hopes for some real luck in the future. Then she warns him, guard against fire, guard against thieves, and watch out for close friends. The ancients definitely did not deceive her. She trails off, but he understands her immediately and chooses to stay quiet. Making a hungry girl recite her hardships on an empty stomach is pretty classless. Besides, if he actually wanted her whole story laid out properly right now, it would be easy. Good food always works wonders on people. But stuck on a miserable, tiny island like this, he is in no mood for pity stories. He quickly confirms the next structural build. The system announces he spent 50 wood and 50 stone for a crude hut. 10 square meters of space. It shields him from hail and extreme weather, lowers his chances of falling ill, and provides 5 points of air defense. Plus 50 building health. Best of all, it dispels the fog in a 10 square meter area cleared, raising prosperity by another 10 points. The cabin drops, that heavy gray mist choking his island rolls back in a clean circle. Finally, he can see past his own feet. 10 square meters is tiny. But in this brutal world, that split second of warning is absolutely everything, and that single heartbeat is exactly why a shelter serves as his core territory. Upgrading to a sturdy cabin would cost a massive 100 stone next. He cannot afford that. His remaining inventory is heavily tilted toward wood. He has double the wood, meaning he cannot even recruit a full squad. But he still holds that level 2 Goblin card. Recruitment can wait. Can wait for now. Still, a smart survivor never ignores his own defenses. He constructs a defense tower instead. The system reports 30 wood and 15 stone. It spans 4 square meters with a pretty decent 30-meter range. It has 100 health and requires 300 grams of food. In water, this tower automatically fires at any threat, ignoring their physical armor. It deals 7 true damage every second. The system prompts for soldier conversion. He approves the change. Just like that, his 3 basic soldiers vanish. They form a defense structure instead. Honestly, who wouldn't make that awesome deal? That is a fair trade. Suddenly, the rooster lets out a loud crow. He looks over to find the bird glaring back with absolute murder in its eyes. No translator needed. The cold look demands food, commanding his master to feed him. Do not ask how he deciphers poultry demands. He learned this lesson the hard way, peck by peck. This short-fused tyrant only dodged the stew. Hot because of the young man's grandfather. The old man claimed this rooster once saved his life, spoiling the bird rotten and keeping him. Until the old man passed away, except he went first. Now the bird has followed his grandson into this strange new world. Talk about sheer luck. Honoring that final wish is the least he can do. He treats him like family. He was well behaved when they first landed, but that gratitude quickly dried up. Just like a free meal, still, the beast carried their very first fight on its back. He cannot mistreat him, making sure to feed the beast and his hen first, before his own group eats. Meanwhile, across the fog on a distant island, a charming woman in her 30s excitedly tells the man right next to her that she just heard a rooster crow. The man she calls Scarface instantly snaps. Of course he heard it. Why not scream louder so they pin their location? She shrinks back, muttering a quick, trembling apology to calm his sudden anger. But he warns her not to get cocky. If she had not served him so well, she would have rejoined her dead husband long ago. She purrs back in submission, saying she would never. He is her entire world, and once they win, she promises to make the night sweet. He roughly shoves her clinging hands away and raises a high-tech scope to peer through the heavy layers of gray mist, searching every single inch of the main island, even through the fog. The view lays out every detail of the territory as if looking down from a tower. The well, the supply crates, the defense tower, and the stats of both pets. Everything lies completely exposed to him, except for the lord of the island himself. And get this, the moment Scarface sees the water well, he is completely hooked. Knowing the island has no real soldiers, it looks like an easy target. 2 basic pets can never stop his level 2 troops. He will crush him, steal his massive fortune, and live like a king. Why keep this useless woman? He originally planned a careful sneak attack, but now realizes he does not need it. Still, he should keep her happy just a little longer for her hidden value. Followers share half their attributes with his troops, and he wants that extra power. He smoothly apologizes, claiming he was just excited, and tells her to get ready. Because once they crush the other lord, they will live in absolute luxury. She softly whimpers that she is not mad, but admits she cannot fight. His face goes completely flat. He asks if he is showing too much kindness. If she will not fight to the death by his side, why feed her? With health that high, she cannot die. Terrified, she quickly reminds him, in a shaky voice, that he promised to protect her if she followed. Scarface bursts into hysterical laughter. How can this foolish woman be so stupid? She literally threw her own husband away, yet she expects to be cherished. His laughter suddenly cuts off. He gives her a cold, final warning right now. If she does not kill for him, he will throw her off his island. She can either fight to survive or die right here, demanding a firm answer. Suddenly, the main island lurches violently as a system alarm blares in his mind. It warns him that a hostile survivor is attacking with clear intent to kill. He must rally his forces immediately and prepare for war, 10 square meters. Of warning distance proves completely useless because with one massive burst of speed, the enemy island crashes directly into his before he can even blink, landing right at the unguarded corner, leaving a wide open path for the invaders. His troops rush forward, instantly targeting the defense tower. Finally, he gets a look at the attacker, a massive territory over 30 square meters with a wooden hut. Explaining why he never saw him coming, 10 level 2 soldiers step forward. Enemy troops advance. A man and a woman hold the back line, his power flattening the protagonists. Mine outright before he can even react, the defense tower fires. -7, -7, -7. Damage floats off the heads of his soldiers. He might be a raw beginner at commanding troops, but he has a sharp eye for danger, and the problem is simple: keep them off the tower, stop them on the road, before they reach it. Our hero acts. Without a second of hesitation, he flings out 9 level 2 Goblin cards. The arrows are already in the air. After the first volley, every single Goblin is down 4 health. Drowning them in bodies is the only tactic he knows. It is the only trick that eases the tightness in his chest, push troops forward. That is the whole game, and he can play it. A level 2 unit has 8 base health, plus his 10 Lord points and the followers 5, totaling 23. He does not need the Goblins to kill, he just needs them to stall and chip away health while his tower works. 2 or 3 defensive blasts will drop any enemy soldier cold. No wonder pets are rare, and no wonder he treasures his. The moment a real fight starts, they charge in and execute every command. It feels almost impossible. Like a man losing his fear of heights overnight. At his signal, rang 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 slips wide, circling around behind Scarface. But brace yourselves, because the enemy cannot stop a pet dog that uses skills. Rang Rang's signature dragon tear bite strikes fast with a 35% chance to drag an enemy down, stealing their turn. It is brutal against ranged targets. On a hit, it lands triple weak point damage. Scarface is an archer, the classic glass cannon. Suddenly, Rang Rang drags him flat. Massive red -12 blooms right over his head. Rang Rang only hits for 6 and armor blocks 2, so standard strike would do 4, but this skill cracked him for 12, leaving him with a tiny sliver. Before the archer can even stand up, the rooster is in his face. Knocked flat and crippled by a debuff, Scarface hands the rooster the maximum bonus damage for his flying peck, dealing -9. Those 2 skills combined finish off an opponent who barely spent a single point on his physique. Dying here is permanent. Frankly, Scarface knew he was done for the very moment a horde of level 2 goblins appeared out of nowhere, because his entire plan rested on this island being defenseless. Suddenly, the woman shrieks and drops to her knees. She begs our hero to spare her life, swearing she was forced into this, promising she is highly skilled at survival and will gladly become his loyal follower. But the second their feet touched this territory, mercy was off the table. Forced or not, her leader Scarface is already dead, so who is left to vouch for her? The young lord is not about to keep a stranger whose past he does not know standing right by his side. The moment he recalls his troops, the goblins will vanish. If she turns on him, what can he use to fight? Nothing. A stranger's promise is not worth his life, so she has to die too, cold, ruthless. But here, everyone is a survivor. Posturing about human kindness is a luxury for people who can actually afford it. With both enemy lords dead, their mindless soldiers lose their targets, shifting from aggressive red names to neutral yellow. They are free for the victor to recruit or scatter. A ruler with no remaining troops is not about to let them walk away. So he recruits 5 of the level 2 units into his own ranks. Now, he should recall his forces, count up the spoils, and finally wrap up this fight. Except at that exact moment, he wraps up the battle, counting the spoils to finally end the fight. But just then, a fresh island swims out of the fog. By every rule, he just finished a battle. His troops are bleeding out, no rest, no business fighting again. But he is different. His soldiers are cards, and cards they do not recycle. If he sits this out, a whole army goes to waste. He must act. Better to spend them now. The system warns of a goblin unit ahead. The unit has spotted him. The choice, prepare for battle or run away. He waits, then the warning sharpens. He has encountered a rare monster. A goblin mage is attacking. Rally the troops, guard the crystal. Protect it with his life. The enemy crawls closer. He scans their roster. 9 units crowd a tiny island. It is barely 8 square meters across. At the front, a level 4 goblin mage. 3 level 3s follow behind. And 5 level 2s. On his side, he has 5 weak level 2s. Plus 7 goblins, both pets, and a level 3 squad leader card, whose stats exceed his tier, plus a defense tower. Can they survive? Without the enemy lord boosting attributes, a master could win this easily. But in his hands, barely winnable. That feels way too generous. Time to act. He dumps 2 achievement attribute points straight into health. Every single troop swells 20 points over their baseline. The pets surge. Pushing near 50, the leader cracks past 60, 15 units upgraded. 300 health gained in total. The math is fuzzy, but the relief, real. Honestly, his own raw power scares him. If his whole army stood frozen and let the enemy swing, the tower alone would still shred most of them. But they will not stand frozen. The 2 islands kiss at the seam. The battle begins. He parks his squad leader right at the front. The ultimate ace is in position. Honestly, his terrible tactics are painful to watch. The system cannot even be bothered to grade him, but it does not matter. Right or wrong, the fight is here. The goblin mage lifts his magic book. Without chanting a single word, he forms an ice cone out of raw mana. The icy projectile flies straight at his squad leader. The speed is nothing special. Any normal person with basic speed could sidestep it, but troops need time. They will never be as fast as a human cursor clicking across a screen, meaning danger. A pet might dodge it, but a basic unit cannot. The cone lands. It hits for -40. Worse, the spell freezes his squad leader solid. He is frozen for a full minute. When close fighting starts, he is vulnerable. With a few swings, his prized ace shatters into glittering shards of light. But his death is not in vain. The pikeman strikes back with reach. While the mage is busy executing the leader, the pikeman's second jab connects. From there, it becomes a brutal, straight-up slugging match between the 2 sides. The mage tucks his spellbook away. Escorted by his level 3 units, he charges. He pulls a staff off his hip and wades into the bloody melee himself. This mage is fierce. The beginner lord actually wonders if level 4s are broken. Between the sounding alarms and the sight of that massive 40 damage hit, he panics. Just one of those devastating blows would easily erase him on the spot. One swing took away his ultimate trump card, leaving him sick to his stomach. His own attack is too feeble to even scratch the mage's thick armor. Completely useless, so he orders Rang Rang to hold back and lock onto the mage. The instant that spellcaster reaches for his book, Rang Rang must interrupt him. He refuses to believe a monster of that caliber is just a one-trick pony. The skill is simply on cooldown. He watches his loyal beast trot to his post. He exhales with a sigh, realizing this creature really is his best companion. But maybe he is overthinking things. Lordless monsters are not that terrifying. Sure, they absolutely shred right through his own defensive forces, but they end up on a tiny sliver of health, picked off by the tower. The defensive tower completely ignores armor, prompting him to pull back his wounded beasts. That level 4 monster boasts such high defense, they cannot even scratch it. Fighting it is a total waste of effort, since only the tower can bypass armor. Only that structural weapon can damage it. High defense on a level 4 is expected. But being completely unbreakable is bizarre. It has to be guarding some valuable treasure. Otherwise, nothing adds up. He holds onto 8 cards harvested from the fallen goblins. He watches that level 4 beast tear his defensive structure apart, frantically calculating. He tracks the remaining health, hoping it holds on with at least half strength. If the beast falls first, his cards survive, including a rare level 3 unit. Selling a card like that would be incredibly easy, as no lord would ever refuse. In the hands of an expert, it easily tips any high-stakes battle, a lifesaver. The asking price will be massive, and he is already grinning like an absolute fool. Honestly, this should be a flawless victory, yet he turned it into a nail-biter. But suddenly, the goblin mage pulls a glowing spellbook right back out of his robes. His smile instantly vanishes. A level 2 cannot break through that defense. It is over. His level 3 card seems lost as huge damage numbers flash, shattering the tower completely. But then the collapsing tower fires one final shot as it breaks apart. It lands a fatal hit on the mage, saving his card. Talk about a close call, he never saw this ending coming. Truly, perfect planning cannot beat sheer luck. He turns the fallen spellcaster into a card, ends the fight, and claims the spoils. The system confirms the Goblin troops are wiped out, leaving his crystal entirely untouched. He completed a tough achievement. Honestly, it did not even feel that hard. Now he is at 2 of 10, with another achievement unlocked for killing consecutive enemies. That milestone awards him 2 valuable attribute points, pushing him to hunt for more. More challenges mean better loot. Next, the system asks if he wants to destroy or occupy. Only a second of hesitation, then he chooses absolute destruction. He already has a 30-plus square meter plot waiting from his previous victory. That is plenty to manage, especially when resource production lags behind construction speed. Boosting his personal power is far smarter. He has 0 use for a tiny 8 square meters. Besides, that weird level 4 mage must have carried prime loot. Just one good item means he will never have to watch fights from the sidelines again. The prompt confirms the island's destruction, rewarding him with some unique combat gear. He gets an ice cone magic tome he cannot currently use, and an upgrade card. The loot includes 15 wood, 5,000 grams of rations, and some glutinous rice. He gets multiple packages of glutinous rice, each weighing 2,000 grams. Plus plenty of clean water, 3 cans of peaches, and even a cozy comforter set. Everyone waits around the crystal platform 1. The 8 square meter island starts to fade. It turns ghostly, breaking apart into glowing points of light. Now he finally understands the truth. Why would anyone choose to squeeze onto such a tiny, cramped space? Living on 10 square meters is brutal, especially when the hall is packed with loot. Materials, food, and daily supplies are everywhere. Then, the system prompts him to make a choice. Destroy or occupy Jang Sam's island. This time, he chooses to occupy it. The system confirms the occupation. His total territory expands by 36 square meters to 72. He also earns 1 terrain reshaping chance, along with a sturdy wooden house. Plus, he receives a floating island heart and a level 2 barracks, an Eye of Oversight, and a D-rank strategic item. Some worn outerwear. He stands there shocked because rumor said occupying only gave specialties. Apparently, taking over a human lord's island works differently than taking a monster's. That is the only logical explanation, and the system continues reading off his rewards. Next up, the system lists 6 massive specialties he just inherited. A D3 sail tree, a D2 gold-producing stone, and D-rank liquor. There is a C-rank large stone pile, and even D-rank instant noodles. Jang Sam's island had plenty of basic resources too, but he fought too slowly. Everything without special attributes vanished into thin air while he was busy fighting. It was like a game map refreshing itself. A human lord's island is different. These islands are literal goldmines, yielding an absolutely massive jackpot. This single victory drags his strength up a whole tier before he even inspects the gear. The system chimes, asking to replace duplicate barracks since only 1 is allowed. It also offers to merge matching specialties. Naturally, he agrees to both. Instantly, his barracks, sail tree, and gold stone flare and upgrade at once. Level 2 units gain 2 extra health, 2 extra attack, and 1 extra defense. That is a massive jump for a beginner, pushing his squad toward expert level. His sail tree leaps to D4, reaching 14 kilometers an hour and 4 wood daily. The gold stone hits D3, producing 3 stone daily. The rules are clear now. Only the highest tier barracks survives, while similar specialty treasures merge. This makes them grow faster. He decides to leave the sail tree alone. A functional specialty that grows on its own is always best left undisturbed. Its description even warns that they only hand out surprises once fully mature. The mineral water is useless to him, so he sets it aside for trading. But he consumes the liquor and instant noodles, boosting his prosperity by 20 points. Alcohol is rare and valuable, and in this brutal world, nobody shares food. What excites him most is that unique C-rank specialty, a large stone pile. It generates 100 stone every 5 days, with a very teasing description. Need stone, just give it some time. This massive boost changes everything. He thought his water alone would make him a top lord, but this is insane. Speechless, no wonder Jang Sam managed to build a sturdy house so fast. Without this stone pile falling into his hands, his rival would have outgrown him. Honestly, with a little more time, defeating him would have been entirely impossible. Judging by the island's size and stockpile, this man was a cold-blooded hunter. He probably slaughtered at least 2 people already. It is a dog-eat-dog world. Perhaps everyone is just too green, letting their guard down far too easily. Around other humans, but the truth is anyone's guess. What Jang Sam taught him is that monsters and weather are absolutely not his only threats, not by a long shot. People plenty must outclass him, and that thought lights a major fire under him. To build up fast, that sturdy wooden house he inherited has to go. The system warns him that dismantling it loses half the precious materials. But he confirms the command anyway, because this place is just packed with terrible, rotten luck. With its owner dying in a single day, he refuses to sleep there. Moving on, the floating island's heart turns out to be a tiny crystal platform. Platform that actually lets him spend resources to construct an attached island and appoint a hero as its lord, but he files that info away since he won't need it yet. As for the worn outerwear, it gives a nice +2 defense. Note explains that strategic equipment automatically boosts all of his subordinates and troops just by sitting in his inventory, no wearing required, which is a sweet little bonus, but that eye of oversight is the real legendary prize. It is an auxiliary tool that lets him read an enemy's setup and stats wherever his gaze lands. It is like his probe, only better, because it doesn't wait for enemies to close in, scanning them cleanly from across the fog. Scouting the whole field from a distance is exactly as overpowered as it sounds. It has 0 attack or defense, but with this, he never has to gamble blindly again. Next, he checks the deceased mage's drops, starting with a special magic book. It is a rare, non-handheld item that passively generates 1 ice cone scroll every single day. It caps at 1 and cannot stockpile, with a pretty smug description. If you want magic, even a pig can cast with this. He saw the goblin fire it twice in a row, but in his hands, it only manages once a day with no saving up. Talk about rubbing salt in the wound. Still, he takes the scroll anyway. It deals 40 base damage to 1 target and freezes them solid for a full minute. So that is how the goblin pulled off 40 magic damage with 0 mana. The book simply did all the work for him, and besides the raw damage, that freezing effect is easily enough to take an enemy ace completely off the battlefield. After that, he inspects a high-grade rare upgrade card. It can turn any normal attributeless item into a specialty, or bump an existing specialty up 1 tier. A huge smile crosses his face because a basic well isn't high tier. It could never upgrade through normal means, making this card a complete lifesaver right now. He does not even bother counting the rest, he just slaps it on. A stunning golden light washes over it, transforming the well into a D-rank specialty now. The description asks if you want a drink, promising to pour forever. Let us see whether your stamina holds out or the water does. Prosperity goes up 30. He finally has unlimited water. Without that card, the well was capped forever. And absolutely nobody in their right mind would ever sell a critical survival card like that. He has never even seen one on the market. Now, with these massive resources, he is stepping directly into the spotlight, wondering if he has some protagonist luck after all. With both stone and water secured, his strategy has to shift dramatically. His entire development strategy has to swing hard into building up his heavy base defense. If anyone dares to attack him now, let us see them break through. If he gets pushed around again, he might as well brain himself on tofu. Settling himself down, he pulls out the rest with a grin: 5,000 grams of military rations, 2,000 grams of clear water, 3 cans of peach preserves, a down bedding set, and other essentials. Those rations cannot convert to normal food, which suits him just fine. Gathering this much in less than a day was solely due to Jang Sam. The Lord's token shows it is already dusk. The evening wind makes him shiver. At 15 degrees, the temperature gap will only get wider once night falls. Fully dark after fighting constantly, his nerves are pulled tight. The moment he lets go, exhaustion crashes down. Body and mind are totally spent, pushing through the fatigue. He hauls 4 buckets of water, lists them, and buys 2 cans of pork at a heavy price for dinner. He glances at the regional chat and finds nothing worth his time, just endless whining and proud harvest brags. So he shuts it. The screen still displays 1,000 survivors, giving him food for thought. He will not know the true count until tomorrow. It is time to Prepare dinner, the absolute best part of his entire day. The sky darkens quickly, and by the time the pot is bubbling and the rice is cooking, night has fully arrived. As a stranger in this wild world, he must learn to adapt. While the rice simmers, he cleans the fresh river fish. Feeding Lord Chicken first, he finally gets to eat. Night on the island is pitch black, so dark that even the hen who hates fire by nature crawls close to the campfire, with Lord Chicken right behind her. The fire is the only light on his tiny island. Silence is the worst part, absolute silence. He can hear his own heartbeat. The crackle of oil from the sizzling fish sounds like sweet music, without his 3 loyal pets keeping him company. He feels like he might have lost his sanity. He cups the dog's head, kisses him, and thanks him again for bringing those 2 wonderful companions. And Rang Rang leaps up, his wagging tail a complete blur as he senses dinner is ready. After a long, exhausting day, he dishes out 2 bowls of rice, cracks open 2 cans to share, and carefully picks out the tiny fish and shrimp first. Stripping the bones to feed his dog, there is absolutely no rush to eat, since a warm meal in a hostile world like this is already a massive blessing. The last fish is huge and takes quite a while to cook. Once it is finished, neither of them is very hungry. Anyway, because a monster catch like that is best stewed with chili peppers and fresh cabbage to bring out the real, rich flavor, but growing fresh vegetables requires effort, meaning he needs both seeds and land. He has plenty of seeds, but still needs the soil. With such unpredictable weather, his safest bet is using the finest black soil available. He knows a female survivor selling precisely that, though her output is low. Since 1 tiny square meter cannot grow much, the real problem is that premium black soil only comes from her. She is so terribly poor that all she has left is black soil, barely able to feed herself. This brutal world is a total meat grinder, so what happens to his black soil supply if she dies? He absolutely has to help her. Because on a night this freezing, without a warm meal, how long before she breaks? The icy wind cuts through the darkness, turning the island even more freezing as his mind races with terrible possibilities. What if she falls sick? Because even if she has no intention of giving up, she won't be able to avoid it. Since he is already sending her hot food, he adds a spare second hand quilt too. It is slightly used, but a starving girl will hardly complain. Finally, he douses the firewood with the leftover cooking water. Once the delivery is sent, he drags the crystal platform inside his crude wooden house, lights a small fire, pulls out his warm-down comforter, makes a bed, and drops into a dead sleep. Meanwhile, Sun Yusin huddles against her crystal platform, trying to block the freezing wind. The total darkness swallows her tiny shape so completely that without the faint glow of her lord's token, her territory cannot even find her. That glowing token is her only shield against crushing loneliness, and even as the chat within it goes quiet and her eyes begin to burn, she dares not set it down. The silent night brings absolute dread. And trust me, nothing crushes your spirit like a cold, starving night, leaving countless people alone in the dark, but few suffer as badly as her. Yet even at her lowest, the stubborn girl refuses to ask for help. She purposely keeps her fire dark so her sail tree can drift. Since a moving island might encounter monsters, that dangerous meeting will either end her misery or prove she can survive. Suddenly, her token alerts her to a trade from Seo Hyuk, already confirmed with no message attached. Waiting at her crystal platform, she freezes, wondering if he suddenly grew a conscience, guessed her desperate situation, and paid her some food. She quickly goes to check it out, receiving a fresh delivery in a hellhole. Like this completely transforms her mood. The instant she lifts the item, she starts hopping in place from the heat, yet refuses to let go. Can you even blame her? She almost cries from sheer, overwhelming disbelief. Her mysterious benefactor sent a massive, perfectly cooked grilled fish, saving her precious resources. She decides to calculate his costs and repay him. Later, using her black soil, she mutters that he must be a novice, wondering how much meat is even left after gutting and cooking it. Starving, she eats slowly, finding that focusing on the warm food miraculously makes her forget the terrifying loneliness of the dark. By the time the fish goes cold, she has eaten only a quarter of it, which is not enough. After starving all day, she forces herself to stop. Deciding to save the rest for morning, she blushes at the poor excuse. Next, she prepares to trade her black soil over, planning to calculate exactly how much food he owes her tomorrow. But then she spots something else in the delivery, sighing at her wasted math. How annoying, her token registers the new items she just received. She has a lighter, 4 pieces of wood, a warm quilt, and failed water as she lacks a proper container. She gives up. Calculating entirely, she cannot possibly repay him, yet she needs every single item too desperately to send anything back, crying tears of joy. She wraps herself in the warm quilt, catching a comforting, masculine scent. On a sudden impulse, she glances at her chest, wrapping it tight. While sighing at her flat figure, it is fine, she tells herself she is still young and has time to grow. Broad daylight wakes him. His pet chicken is barely crowing for once. Out of habit, he reaches for his phone. Only to remember there are no phones here, only the Lord's token. Day 2 begins. 8 in the morning, a pleasant 26 degrees during the day, but the nighttime low drops to 12 degrees. Right in the center where he cannot miss it sits a glowing red warning. He taps it and reads that extreme weather is coming, hot days and freezing nights, ranked as a simple level for now, telling him to stock more basic survival supplies, build his wooden manor quickly, keep his troops fed and raise defense towers against monster raids, keeping an eye on the temperature swings to avoid getting sick. A few choice curses run through his mind, because this is only the easiest level where normal temperature shifts already make people sick. Now, an extreme weather wave is coming. How many kids and elderly can actually survive that? He is barely finished grumbling when he reads to the very end and goes quiet. It offers a clear choice: drift with the monsoon to a warmer region and challenge stronger beasts there for more treasure, or stop the sail tree and ride out the extreme weather right where he is to earn a tougher body and resistances. The longer he survives, the higher they climb, with the whole ordeal paying out crucial attribute points. That makes perfect sense. Right now at the start, everyone has the exact same baseline, and he is no richer than the next guy. Other lords have entire territories starting far ahead of him, while he is still a beginner. What right does he have to envy anyone? Stats fundamentally rebuild a person's body. They are incredibly hard to get, and the ways to earn them are scarce. The achievement rewards are tempting, but all bought by fighting to the death. A small note adds that gear stats only work in combat, while survival depends entirely on his own base stats, so he is giving the survival wave everything. Resistance is just as powerful as raw stats anyway, working for both survival and battle. His logic is simple if he cannot even claim the rewards from the starter village. How can he hope to challenge anything bigger? With plenty of time left, he prepares for the extreme weather. Once the plan is locked in, he doesn't hesitate. Quick decision-making is his second greatest strength. He opens the regional chat channel and finds the survival count dropped from 1,000 to 954. He was right, that many people died in a single day, even with the beginner shield active. His bold guess. Aside from those killed by monsters, the number murdered by other players cannot be small. That psycho Jang Sam alone slaughtered several people in a day before running into him, meaning this starter region is tiny. If not for the thick fog, he might even see other survivors nearby, but because the islands drift and the fog hangs thick, it feels like he is the last man alive. Just guesses, of course. With so many dying, it will impact his resource gathering, but he cannot save anyone. Still, he can at least leave a warning. Most players have realized that public chat is rationed, so they stopped wasting their daily posts falling silent on anything that doesn't help them survive. The talkative, helpful players long ago formed private groups with no limits on their daily messages, a safe haven to negotiate trade prices and troop tactics. Yet somehow he is the only one left without a group of his own, but his name as the Water Tycoon echoes everywhere. Too many people have actually benefited from him, so plenty have marked him as the region's top leader, and elite players get their messages pinned. An extra warning isn't much to ask. He bluntly tells them that those missing. He warns everyone that the deaths in this region are not just from monsters, and that some idiot tried to mess with him, so he scattered his ashes and left. Nobody doubts him. The message lands like a thunderclap because someone had floated the same warning before, only to get slammed by trolls. But when the big boss says it, it is completely different. As it turns out, every island has coordinates, and after swapping them, people can actually find each other, some who got along well. We're already planning to meet up, never expecting the big boss to drop this bomb. First thing in the morning, the replies flood in, with one man stunned that someone demanded his coordinates, another chased off a girl who wanted to meet, fearing a honey Trap, a third person, snaps that a big boss with this many raw resources never has to worry about food or water. Even if he shares nothing, there is no need to kill while someone else calls the dead attacker an absolute idiot. Then, a man named Wang Mang chimes in, claiming he warned everyone before the big boss even spoke, and they refused to believe him. He claims he knew the exact same truth as the big boss, and if anyone plots against him, he will not let them live. He adds that he was not ruthless before, but changed the second he seized that scoundrel assets. Instantly, the chat buzzes with people trying to add him for details. Our main character checks the trade channel, surprised that his water has not sold out. Still, he lists 4 more barrels anyway. A smart merchant never lets stock run dry. People likely see water is always available, so they feel no rush to hoard. Which is perfectly fine since he is in this for the long haul. If he cannot get building materials, he will trade for daily necessities, finding salt, toothbrushes, toothpaste, grabbing them if possible, losing nothing if he cannot. Survival has only just begun. Most people stocked up before crossing over, but there is another reason. For his strategy, food has almost vanished from the trade market, and what little appears is ridiculously expensive. Building materials are thinning out too, like wood for fires and stone for shelter. Clearly, many are preparing to tough out the incoming extreme weather. He silently thanks his past self for upgrading the well last night, allowing him to gather a massive wave of extra resources. Without them, this brutal market would have turned ugly. Luckily, the conditions for sturdy wooden house are met, and watch, because he is not hesitating. A flash of golden light and it is finished. He sighs with relief, finally owning a real home to protect him from wind and rain. He spent 100 wood and 100 stone to upgrade the crude hut into a sturdy wooden house, 15 square meters, able to withstand hail, heat, severe cold, and more, slashing his sickness risks and granting 10 points of air defense, 150 building health, and a trait clearing fog within a 20-meter radius. Prosperity rises by 30. As it settles, the fog retreats from 10 meters to 20 at his island speed. This extra vision buys him enough time to accelerate and escape. The sturdy house easily doubles the hut stats, but he knows that without a stone house, surviving the extreme weather will not be easy. He holds 121 wood and 32 stone, keeping the stone untouched. Since he has no troops and needs a reserve, he will not hesitate to use barracks free daily soldier. In about 4 more days, his stone pile will grow. After that, he plans to construct several more archer defense towers. Since for a beginner with troops, towers are his absolute pillar. A token suddenly chimes. He confirms the trade from his friend Song Yen. No message waits at the platform. He chuckles, not expecting the girl to be this impatient, probably rushing him to pay up. Fair enough, the poor girl is counting on this to turn her luck around. Without military rations, soldiers will not fight. Rations swap for food. It is clear that someone who has never fought and cannot even feed herself has nothing to feed troops either. He plans to give her plenty of food and send some military rations on top, since those only matter to troop types. He has plenty of them, while the poor girl has not started fighting yet and needs them. Honestly, for some black soil, he has sunk a real fortune. Everything else is easy, but food is the one thing that gnaws at everyone. It strikes him that on this road there is no avoiding solving the food problem himself. Otherwise, he would not fuss this hard over one girl. Seeing her trade the black soil over with no message attached, he is stunned. Are there really people like this in the world? Everyone else is terrified of coming up short, yet this poor girl just hands it over. Was she moved, or is she gambling on his character? He wonders whether he even has one. When he preps the food and starts the trade, she refuses it flat no matter what. That iron in her is no act, so in the end he tells her he cannot cook, asking her to do it for a fee. The pay is meals, a clean win for them both. She promises that as long as he feeds her, every future black soil yield comes to him free, winning him over completely. This girl is worth cultivating. An extra mouth strains his food a little, but only for now. She's putting in both labor and materials, so it is hardly freeloading. The trade channel does sell food if you push the price. With water in hand, he does not fear a high price. With the black soil, crops can grow inside the wooden house. With chili and Chinese cabbage, his food pressure eases. Best of all, fresh vegetables will only get rarer. In the wooden house, he turns the ice cone scroll over in his hands, waiting on delivery from Song Yen, because not having to cook feels unreasonably good. Then The token sounds. Gina, who never says a word in the friend channel, tells him that if Wang Pio wants to give him something, he had better think hard about whether he can actually handle it. Since it is cryptic nonsense, he does not bother replying. However pretty a woman is, she is not his, and the little one he is raising does not look a hair worse anyway, but right as he is on the toilet, Wang Pio messages him, asking if he is there, the greeting he hates most because whether he is there depends entirely on what the guy wants. Here for free meal or trading a favor, he tells him to spit it out. Wang Pio offers to show him something. If he has the strength to take it, Wang Pio will give it to him, calling it helping a brother out, and sends a screenshot. It is an ancient, one-handed staff half a man tall. Where a gem should sit, there is a stone shaped like an eye. Its name rings out, Goblin Glory. The description calls it a super rare territory type treasure. It is the goblins' ultimate prize, the source of their famous vision. Whoever takes it will draw the goblins' frenzy to them because racial glory cannot be defiled, cannot be lost, and cannot be damaged. It notes the item officially activates in 9 hours, and so he has to prepare to defend it, while its real function stays locked and hidden. The whole thing baffles him, because a racial ultimate treasure is their dearest possession. Why on earth would Wang Pio just hand it over like this? Did he kill the Goblin King in under 2 days? Is he even human? He is so rattled by his own wild guesses that he walks out of the bathroom completely dazed, pants on but unsure if he even wiped. He blurts out that if Wang Pio already killed the Goblin King, why fear payback from ordinary goblins? Wang Pio fires back instantly, telling him not to tease, explaining that the item is actually a trap, baiting goblins the whole time so whoever takes it gets hooked, and that he only got it by sacrificing his entire fortune to take down a level 3 goblin squad. That explanation settles his mind. He hates seeing his bro look weak, but he also hates seeing him get too far ahead of him either. Thinking it over, what the guy says holds up against their actual strength, fearing he might refuse. Wang Pio sends another message promising he is not playing tricks, since he has been hoarding building materials. His territory is huge and he has to play defense. As long as he builds more defense towers, small goblin groups cannot touch him. He can always run from the tough ones, plus battle only makes him stronger. Meanwhile, Wang Pio chose the combat path, stuck on a cramped island with no room for towers. He is tempted because getting stronger takes resources, and resources mean killing monsters, but this beginner trap talk sounds a bit too smooth. Small groups are easy, sure, but how can he spot the ones he cannot beat? By the time he realizes, it will definitely be too late to run. Besides, if fighting really made him stronger, would he be giving away bargains? But here is the thing, Wang Pio does not know about his secret, the Eye of Oversight, which reads enemy power in advance. Even so, he would never risk his neck for an item with an unknown function, so he deflects, telling him his towers are stationary and his troops too weak to stop the monsters. But that only makes Wang Pio misread him entirely. Since he didn't outright refuse, the guy figures confidence is high, and a simple troop upgrade will solve his hesitation, knowing he has a favor coming if Wang Pio does not fleece the fat sheep. Walking right up to his door, he wouldn't even be human, so to solve this problem fast, shedding a little blood is only fair. Wang Pio tells him to look at this and sends over another screenshot. It is a level 2 skeleton soldier barracks. It grants rare free recruitment based on his leadership value, no resource needed, plus they are undead, meaning 0 upkeep, total fearlessness, and complete immunity to intimidation, with a 20% chance to shrug off attacks from archer towers and archers. His heart pounds because this item is an absolute gift from heaven, since skeleton soldiers usually run a notch below average, only slightly above level ones, but what others write off as trash is pure gold to him. Paired with his card skill, it is a perfect sea of troop strategy. No tactical genius can paper over an overwhelming numbers gap. These experts are insane at treasure hunting, and Wang Pio cannot possibly have only this much good stuff, even though he has already agreed in his heart. He squeezes the guy, calling the item completely average, but its decent traits make it a handy substitute. Still, this single item is not worth the risk. He snaps back. Is he really doing this just for his gear? This is to save. Even though he braced himself to get fleeced, Wang Pio cannot keep his temper at this outrageous demand, but after some haggling he caves, throwing in a pair of +2 defense strategic pants and 50 stone and wood each, supposedly to help him field his Full roster. These materials were squeezed out of his alliance members while his own soldiers go completely unaccounted for. The trick to raising leadership value was hidden by the system, but Wang Pio already found it so simple he does not even count it a secret. The entire alliance knows, holding it back only to grow a step ahead of everyone else, so naturally he assumes a big boss knows it too, meaning the main character cannot possibly be ignorant of how valuable the skeleton barracks is. His class is Pikmin Captain, granting his pikemen extra attack, defense, and speed, his actual lifeline, so a skeleton barracks does him little good right now, or he would never have let it go so cheap. He has already paid a steep price, and the main character is still not satisfied. From this moment, he labels him as greedy in his head, but having played games like this, he feels he cannot resist. Terrified the main character will not take the deal, so he tells himself that no survivor alive can withstand the goblin's mad assault. He reasons that since the main character covets this treasure, he must be ready to die, and if he cannot hold it and dies, then he deserves it, because those benefits were never meant to be easy to take. When the main character runs into a level 4 armored goblin, that is when the whole village will throw a funeral feast. The thought of one level 4 armored goblin nearly wiping his own team makes him shiver. He is still fuming that if this item had shown up a few days later, he would never have given it up, and even if the main character survives, if he dares take advantage of him, he had better watch out. Because killing players is always easier than killing monsters, conveniently forgetting that this entire mess is his own doing. With the death warrant out of his hands, Wang Pio breathes easier with the pressure gone, confident that with his abilities starting over is no real hardship, because the single thing choking his development all along is that he meets monsters too rarely to hunt enough, and just like that, talk about perfect timing, his fortune is about to change. As if to confirm it, the system alerts him that he has discovered the Godfall Island chain. Swallowing his wild joy, he immediately drops a tip in the Alliance channel that brothers short on water should swap resources for clean water now, because if nothing goes wrong, they won't buy water this cheap in a few days. Internal information strictly not for outsiders. The Women's Legion leader, Gina, posts the exact same line to her sisters, while over on the regional channel, a man named Ko spins it. The latest news is that the district's water bigshot looks to be in trouble, so and just like that, the regional channel absolutely loses its mind. One player is already short on water whales about how he'll survive, another is miserable about lacking both food and water, while a third notes food prices have already doubled. And the water situation won't be much better if the big shot is gone. Son Yusin asks him what is wrong on his side, since the whole region is talking about him, and he finds it sweet how this little thing is actually worried about him. He tells her that as his sweetheart, she's the one who should be telling him what's happening, not asking. He only meant to tease the girl, but she simply replies that she understands and goes quiet. Well, never mind, he decides to let her play alone. He is just sulking around anyway. The matter is simple, and he is probably 90% correct, especially since he just closed the deal with Wang Pio, and his water sold out instantly. It is obvious that the other man thinks he will not survive, and his subordinates are lords with friends. One tells 10, 10 tell 100. After dinner, the token reports his listing sold out, so he restocks and lists it again. Sold out, he restocks a third time, and finally the water stops selling. Everyone in his region is incredibly supportive. They clearly know he is in deep trouble and are backing him to the end. He plans to survive and not let them down. With this massive wave of resources in hand, he is completely at ease, so he sets up 5 more defense towers and surrounds his house with all 6 arrow towers. If he had more space, he would have built even more. He holds off upgrading them to level 2, since they only add 2 damage for double the resources, which is too expensive right now. Instead, he recruits 14 level 2 skeleton soldiers and cards them all. Then, he recruits 10 more level 2 skeleton soldiers and cards them. After that, he recruits 10 more level 2 soldiers. Seeing a huge heap of wood and double the stone, there is no reason to keep skipping the wooden wall. He was too stingy before to build a level 1 wooden wall, which only takes 2 wood for 50 health. Now, he spends 150 wood to get 75 walls instantly. This adds solid defense around his small house. Even with low defense, they can soak a hit, and that buys valuable time. He now holds 1 level 4 Mage Goblin card, 3 level 3 cards, 5 level 2 Goblin cards, and 10 level 2 Skeleton. Soldiers plus both pets, 10 level 2 Pikemen, 6 Arrow Towers and an Ice Cone. Scroll and some extra defensive pieces. With combat power like this, who can even compare to him? Now he has 151 wood and 98 stone left. Upgrading to a stone house takes 200 of each for 20 square meters, which brings way more practical features. Right now, both land and materials fall short, but as Wang Pio said, once monsters attack, he only grows stronger with each fight, so the space issue will fix itself, and his profession guarantees endless combat stamina. The reason he stops spending materials is partly to recruit reinforcements if his forces get thin, and partly to save up for that stone house. He really needs its vision range, which is his actual lifeline. He figures all he has to do now is wait for the siege. Once the goblin treasure activates, suddenly the system alerts him that an unknown force has appeared in the southeast, right within his line of sight. He must prepare. Looking in that direction, he sees the corner of an island that seems to be sliding right past him. He immediately casts the Eye of Oversight on it and detects a monster island named Minotaur. The details are hidden since it sits beyond his full view. What are monsters to him? Just free gear and resources. He was only worried about stopping the goblin attack, so how could he let free gear drift past his nose? He quickly swings the sail tree and gives chase. The target is slow and his D4 tree gradually pulls them into view, even though he cannot see the entire island. His Eye of Oversight lays its combat power bare. He is thrilled and uneasy at once. What thrills him is that the Minotaur Island spans 50 square meters and actually holds a level 4 barracks and the loot from destroying a massive. This island is massive. What really rattles him, though, is the presence of 6 level 4 soldiers guarding it. These rare level 4 Minotaurs boast 70 health, 12 attack, and 4 defense. With just 1 magic defense, they bring fearless charge and heavy blow where anyone struck by the charge takes double damage from the massive follow-up smash, but after using their skills, they get a 10-second debuff, cutting their stats in half, along with weak eyesight. And an absolute hatred for goblins. The little green beasts must die. They are same level 4 creatures but infinitely stronger across every single stat, and since that barrack is a fully visible structure, the loot odds are extremely high. Yet, with so many players around, not a single meta Minotaur has appeared, their insane stats proving their rarity. Miss this chance and he might never see this shop again, so even if it costs him everything, he is taking the risk. The system alerts him that he activated acceleration and launched an active assault on Minotaur Island, meaning there is no retreating to safe territory before the fight ends. He ignores the alert against a stronger enemy. Newcomer cannot afford even a single mistake. With a sweeping wave of his hand, he summons 10 white skeleton soldier cards in front of his pikemen, then positions a level 4 goblin mage and 3 level 3 goblins on the left flank, plus 5 level 2 goblins on the right. With his stat buffs active, these troops stand no weaker than standard level 3s, their defense sitting 3 points higher than the Minotaurs. That stat advantage is exactly where his confidence comes from. His 2 pets wait near the edge of the battlefield, ready to strike when an opportunity arises, mostly because he fears their permanent death. The rule is simple: either avoid the fight entirely or spam units. That is the beginner's desperate doctrine. Normally, these beasts hesitate before using their abilities, but the moment his goblins spawn, all 6 charge instantly. Every single attack locks onto the small greenkins, as if they possess some global taunt passive. The 6 beasts lower their horns and tear across the field in a terrifying rush. The target goblins take hits of -9 and -9. Amid the chaos, they get crushed together as the behemoths unleash heavy blow for -36 damage. His level 2 goblins are vaporized in one sweep. His stomach drops completely, 12 minus. The goblin's defense yields 9. The doubled heavy blow spikes to 18 against a target debuffed by the initial charge. That number doubles again to 36, a devastating combo ripping away 45 health points. Thankfully, the mage's flank holds up slightly better. 1 rampaging bull gets locked mid-charge. His level 3 troops survive the brutal impact thanks to his active buffs, immediately exploiting the monster's post-skill vulnerability. Now is the moment for his army to strike back. 3 skeleton warriors quickly surround each bull on the inside, with pikemen framing the perimeter. Consistent chip damage registers, -2. -3, make no mistake, this beautiful formation is entirely down to the unit's auto-positioning, as no beginner could manage this level of complex play, but you cannot deny his sheer numerical advantage. The pikemen strike safely without closing in while the skeletons block every opening, judging by the enemy's massive health pool. He cannot kill them within 10 seconds, but that is where the rooster's airborne advantage truly shines. The weakened beasts allow the bird to bypass their massive armor, ignoring physical reduction and pecking them to pieces. Incredible attack speed translates to rapid damage, popping -8, -8, -16, melting the first target instantly. Meanwhile, the level 4 Goblin Mage, though outclassed in raw stats, gets bolstered by his strategic commands, drops its caster act, grabs the staff at its waist, and shatters. He shatters the ice instantly, handles another, calls in his level 3s to crush a third. The weakness window shuts, his units stop breaking defense. Every attack, reduced to just -1, absolutely useless. His weak level 3s collapse, their skeletal remains scattering all over the ground as the mage and Minotaur trade blows. The weakened beast bleeds heavily, so the mage holds the edge. He stays back, eyes locked on his side, hand clenching the ice cone scroll, just in case a Minotaur targets him. This is his sole lifeline. And that cautious choice pays off when a Minotaur suddenly lowers its head, aiming straight at the rooster. That bird cannot survive this deadly combination. He fires the ice scroll, freezing the beast mid-charge. Its failed skill triggers weakness, leaving him with one clear option: gang up on it. Another charges, so he triggers Rang Rangrang's Dragon Bite skill. That innate ability works absolute wonders midcast, stopping the active Minotaur cold. It weakens instantly and dies. Soon, the two bitter racial enemies finish each other off. Only then does he realize the kill happened near his territory. So why did his defensive towers provide zero support? Checking, the system fills his chest with absolute dread. He only fought so aggressively because he relied on those defensive structures. Now he understands the massive gap between attacking and defending. Those towers do not follow him out. Thankfully, he still won, keeping 4 pikemen as he cards the last guard. The system offers a choice: destroy or occupy. He hates that he cannot choose both because he really wants that 50 square meter island, but remembers his main objective. Painfully, he selects destroy. The system immediately congratulates him on a successful offensive, awarding 1 leadership point and a rare achievement. That makes 3 of 10 difficult achievements, earned only against stronger opponents. With the island officially destroyed, the system drops some highly valuable rewards. He claims 1 level 4 Minotaur barracks, 15 stone, and 1,500 grams of rations, 600 grams of flour, water, and a ceramic bathtub. Since the island is dissolving, he heads home. He spent his savings, but secured his prize and finally discovered where leadership points come from. Even with low resources and no special cards, this entire run was a massive success. Back home, he rushes inside to inspect the gear. He ignores the basic materials, but that bathtub is incredibly useful for this hot weather. Still, his eyes are glued to the barracks. It is a rare level 4 structure, taking up 2 square meters. He can recruit level 4 guards for 15 wood, 15 stone, and rations. Just getting 1 free guard daily makes this barracks an absolute jackpot. He already knows their terrifying combat stats, and the thought of using one in actual battle has him shaking with pure excitement. While other survivors are stuck using level 1 or 2 troops, he can field rare level 4s. The power gap is absolutely massive. A total beginner could dominate here, but recruiting is not urgent yet, since he has hoarded his divine power all this time for this exact moment. A massive choice, while others waste resources upgrading ordinary level 2 barracks. Why shouldn't he upgrade a rare level 4 structure? If not now, then when? The system asks if he is absolutely sure about spending his divine power. Each barracks gets only 1 upgrade chance. This is his single shot. But finding a rare barracks is incredibly tough, especially a level 4 one. He instantly confirms the choice. Glorious golden light washes over the entire structure. He checks the stats. He now owns a rare level 5 Minotaur barracks. It recruits level 5 armored Minotaur warriors for 20 wood, 20 stone, and 500 rations and water. He gets 1 free warrior daily. He decides to recruit right away. The system announces that an armored Minotaur warrior has officially joined his ranks. This rare level 5 troop has 100 health, 15 attack, and weak vision. His thick skin talent doubles recovery speed. His first skill is Fearless Charge. That skill deals double damage and knockback. Next up is Heavy Blow. Heavy Blow silences and interrupts spellcasting. Best of all, these skills stack. A target hit by charge takes massive stacked damage from Heavy Blow. There is a 10-second weakness afterward, but level 5 completely outclasses level 4. It unlocks brand new talent attributes, heavily boosting his basic defense and magic resistance. These defensive stats climb by 4 whole points, and his skills grow stronger. The 10-second weakness remains, however, these are just his base numbers. Apply his Lord buffs and his total combat power completely skyrockets. Who can stop him? This single level 5 armored Minotaur warrior provides unbelievable, absolute security. It easily outperforms any defense tower. He is practically floating with joy. It feels like relaxing in a cold room during a sweltering summer. But the steep recruitment costs quickly bring him back to reality. The Goblin countdown is still ticking. Soon, they will swarm his territory. Recruiting troops is absolutely unavoidable. Those basic level 2 barracks are useless now. Unfortunately, his resources are running dry. All his hard work is barely enough. He has gathered almost no stone, scraping together just 120. Gritting his teeth, he blows absolutely everything on 6 level 5 units. He now fields 7 armored Minotaurs and 4 level 2 pikemen. The monster horde has not arrived yet. He has prepared everything possible. With nothing left to do, he opens the regional chat seeking info. After lurking for a while, he finds other survivors complaining about everything. The most popular post asks if anyone noticed the drop rate nerf. They claim monster drops are at least 2/3 less than yesterday. Another user confirms it, aside from the massive first kill bonus. Consequent kills yield almost nothing. Others complain about the lack of food. They wonder how to survive this weather. They miss their cozy homes. Then a survivor named Shim Y posts some extremely valuable advice. He reveals a secret trick to easily maximize all of his combat resource rewards. The fewer troops you lose in a fight, the more you earn. It is basically a combat rating system, though first kills still pay the best. Our protagonist originally assumed the poster was just having bad luck. But after reading all these agreeing replies, he falls completely silent. These 2 advice posts are wildly popular. The evidence is simply undeniable. Which means this rumor is likely true, making the wisdom of the crowd incredibly helpful. And since he benefits from everyone, he decides to give something back. He straight up publicizes how to earn leadership points, alongside the major downside of proactive attacks. The moment he sends it, the message reaches a flood of excited players. Another massive wave of thanks rolls in, with one man celebrating his generosity. Others call the news absolutely critical, while a third person gratefully praises his selflessness. Even though the information is useless to them, they still appreciate the help. A fourth even asks to join him. Meanwhile, Wang Pio reads the message and quietly curses him for being an idiot. He knows that once this information goes public, there is no use keeping it a secret anymore to attract potential recruits. Wang Pio replies to him publicly, claiming that his alliance already tested the theory yesterday. Wang Pio wanted to show off and prove he got the scoop ahead of other heavy hitters, but instead, the global chat turns on him. CIO fires the first shot, asking if certain players would have hoarded this secret forever if the top player had not gone public first, now that it is out. They run around trying to remind everyone they exist, treating the rest as fools. Someone else marvels at how 2 top players can have such vastly different characters. Then Wang Meng chimes in, asking if Wang Pio is harvesting his own alliance, and plans to harvest the rest next. That incredibly sharp dig makes Wang Pio hit the panic button, quickly snapping back at his accusers. He claims his members willingly supply raw materials so he can forge weapons. Wang Meng scoffs at this defense, pointing out he charges an absolute fortune for a single piece of gear. Wang Pio angrily shouts back at him to stop spouting ignorant nonsense, but despite their constant bickering, one plain fact remains. Wang Pio can craft equipment, and even if it is only basic personal gear, people desperately need it since high-tier weapon drops are incredibly scarce. The real tragedy of Alik is standing there fully grown, crying for a harvest. So his bandwagon stunt works out perfectly. Meanwhile, out at the shelter, dusk settles as the inevitable moment finally arrives. He successfully claimed the Goblin's glory. Now the countdown to their impending attack is down to just 2 minutes. Sitting outside the wooden cabin, he carefully reads the staff's description again. It is categorized as a super rare territory treasure, the goblin's ultimate racial relic. Whoever steals it triggers their absolute frenzy, as their sacred pride cannot be desecrated. The system warns that the treasure will activate the exact second the timer hits 0. Right on cue, the warned staff floats out of his hand, rising high. On a column of radiant light, after 10 long seconds, it sinks slowly onto the roof of the cabin, as if always meant to rest there. The blinding flash softens into a gentle, warm glow that bathes the entire territory. He groans. If this beacon stays lit, those sharp-eyed goblins will spot it instantly, acting as a giant neon sign pointing straight to his base. Still, having a dependable light source in the pitch black might be pretty useful. With the staff now fully bound to his cabin, its hidden stats finally reveal themselves. The system labels it the Goblin's Glory, an ultra-rare territory. Treasure, its main effect, Beacon of the Night, is currently at 0 out of 10. He has to survive 10 full siege waves before he can turn it off. Abilities promised after he upgrades it. Its second is Extreme Vision, and as long as it sits inside his territory, every successful defense dispels 1 meter of the fog over his sight. This treasure adds absolutely 0 combat power, but those 2 effects are worth fighting for, and every worry he had a second ago evaporates. He laughs, telling the monsters to come harder. At this hour the dark falls fast, and without light, his eye of oversight goes blind. As if hearing his dare, the floating island suddenly lurches under him, and the system warns that he is under attack, telling him to rally his troops and protect his crystal with his life. The monsters land, and the instant they touch down, his eye of oversight earns its keep, laying every attribute out at a glance. So soon, he thinks these must be the nearest monster islands dragged in by the light level 1 soldiers, which makes this less an attack than a reward delivery. The fight is over before he even bothers standing up. The system says he perfectly defended the attack, prompting him to destroy or occupy, logging his perfect battle score at 1 out of 10. The trick is winning without taking a single scratch, rewarding him 1 free attribute point. This achievement triggers only once, failing on any interruption. His Beacon of the Night ticks to 1 out of 10. Extreme Vision burns 1 meter of fog away. He occupies, and his island swells by 8 square meters, 8 level 1 soldiers, and he won without rising from his seat. The enemy island is an empty 8 square meter scrap with nothing on it. Too small and too weak to bother smashing, so he keeps expanding and occupying it. Hands him not one specialty. Tonight will not be peaceful, and tomorrow may be wilder, so he had better steal some sleep first. Before bed, he cards his 4 level 2 soldiers so they cannot die mid-fight and break his perfect battle. It stings that this clashes with his hard mode defense achievement, but he cannot chase both, so he picks one and leaves the rest to the defense tower and his 7 level 5 soldiers. He tells Rang Rang and the Lord Chicken to keep watch to wake him if the soldiers cannot hold, and on no account to jump into combat while he sleeps. Rang Rang barks, the rooster crows, and there is actually a response, which startles and delights him both. Thinking back on how disciplined they were in the last fight, their intelligence was plainly no small thing, and he was careless to miss it, even foolish enough to guess their combat selves and everyday selves ran on different settings, when even he acts like a different man in a fight than he does on a normal day. But intelligence this high he never saw coming. There is a long road ahead, and they will come to know each other slowly. With the 2 of them on watch, he rests easy, because if he cannot sleep soundly with this much strength behind him, he has no business hoping to see tomorrow's sun. That night, his territory quietly weathers 3 more waves. While he sleeps through every one, his only grievance, the lack of a comfortable bed. Day 3 in the new world, 7 in the morning. The system reads a daytime high near 28 degrees, muggy air, excellent, a nighttime low of 10, warning him to keep warm, the rest unchanged. The regional channel shows 933 people, and the count sits heavy on him. Yesterday's death toll seems small, but this is one little patch of 1,000 souls, and scaled across the whole world, it is too terrible, and that does not even count the ones who never he faced a monster, because not everyone can defend an island, and once the novice shield drops after today, the death toll will surely spike. He knows few people. As far as he can tell, Sun Yusen has not crossed a single monster island, so she has gained nothing while he sits here, sweating over too many monsters coming for him. Some die of thirst, others drown. Every day someone in the channel is complaining or showing off, and countless others pile on with their own luck or misery, but he never joins in, a survivor barely scraping by. What business does he have helping anyone? His water price has not budged, not gouging people during a time like this is proof enough of his conscience. He eats cooked food and some takeout while reading last night's combat log because skipping the actual combat does not mean ignoring the news. He slept restlessly and woke up exhausted, since how can a man rest easy knowing monsters are coming? He could not fully pull himself awake either. A strange feeling, 3 waves of low-level monsters arrived, but with his level 5 soldiers in the defense tower it was a flawless win, not one level 3 among them, nothing to mourn. His flawless battle stands at 4 out of 10, Beacon of the Night is 4. Extreme Vision has cleared 4 more meters of fog, and the default Occupy added 24 meters, putting his territory at 104. He praises the Staff of Glory as a downright divine artifact. If Wang Pio knew, would he not regret it to death? Though what is there to regret if he had not taken it off his hands? How many waves could he have weathered? Only his massive territory, his stacked defense towers, and his strong troops kept the monsters off him. And anyone else would have buckled. The conscription cost alone is enough to kill a man. He has no way of knowing, but his guess is dead on the mark. In all, he held off 4 waves this round, and even occupying every island gave him a single specialty, an item he can take or leave. A strawberry plan of all things, though. Its rating runs as high as C rank. The strawberry is nothing magical, just living specialty, and the trait of living specialties is that one can cultivate them since they breed and multiply. He never lets food go to waste. And it is a treasure with attributes, so he plants it grudgingly in a corner of the black soil, careful to keep it from crowding the cabbage. This C rank treasure strawberry produces 10 plump berries a day and can grow. Its description promises that if he lets it keep evolving, it will hand him satisfying results, and it adds 10 to territory prosperity. He tells the plant that eating its berries will not fill his belly, no match for cabbage, but the plumpness is no lie. Each berry is nearly the size of an egg. A new day means harvesting specialties again. It is the happiest part of his day, and there are probably not many survivors collecting until their hands ache the way he does. Even so, his haul holds its own against anyone else's, yet food is still barely getting by, so he starts with his troop types, summoning all 11 free skeleton soldiers from the skeleton barracks and 1 pikeman, then recruiting 1 armored Minotaur warrior. He currently holds 11 level 2 skeletons, 5 level 2 pikemen, and 6 level 4 Minotaur guards, 22 cards in all, and his standing force consists of 8 level 5 rare soldiers, plus a single ice cone scroll that will not stack. Nobody would believe this strength, and of course, he will not show it off. His real strength, because way too many people cannot stand to watch another guy succeed. Looking at the scroll, a thought hits him. Since these are all items, why not turn them into cards too? There is no reason they cannot stack. The cards are incredibly useful. The more he stockpiles, the safer he feels. He tries it. It works like a charm. He laughs, calling himself a genius. After all, if troop control is bad, just buy items. He has more than enough rations left. The normal food is eaten, while the 2 chicken eggs are saved, despite his massive cravings. His specialty foods are mostly freshwater fish, while the instant noodles and strawberries are barely worth mentioning. His main advantage is never worrying about water. His stone pile is still warm, and that giant roll of paper will last 2 years, yet he is still dirt poor. Can he take back his previous bragging? Surviving extreme weather on these meager supplies is nothing but a distant dream. He still needs to find and slay stronger monsters to secure a real way forward. His theory is proven correct, as the system warns him of 2 approaching islands closing in 23 meters out. That is the benefit of a wide field of view. It buys precious time. 2 waves at once make him panic. His first instinct is to run, but checking them with his unique skill calms him right down. Both islands are 10 square meters. One carries 10 level 2 goblins, while the other has 9 with 5 level 2 and 4 level 3. That second island is not completely empty, holding a few small saplings instead of buildings. Since they are not buildings, they must be a specialty resource. Stronger monsters mean better loot. Confident in victory, he acts like a seasoned pro. Talk about a massive ego trip. He boasts, claiming there is absolutely no monster in this beginner village that can beat him. asking them to bring it on. He is ready for some easy achievements. It is bold talk, especially coming from someone who wanted to flee just a moment ago. High-level soldiers shredding through weak enemies is always a brutal sight. Buffed by Lord attributes, his armored Minotaur warrior gets a massive health boost to 130 and defense jumping to 13. Level 2 Goblin attacks fail to even scratch his armor, leaving absolutely nothing but harmless 0 damage indicators floating in the air, even level 3 Goblins only deal tiny, harmless pin pricks of 1 or 2 points of total damage. Meanwhile, on her own island, Susan faces 14 square meters of 7 level 2 and 3 level 3 goblins, tough. Naturally, the poor girl is extremely nervous since she has only ever watched tutorial streaming channels to learn about basic troop control, positioning, and tactical movement. She understands the theory but has never applied it in actual combat. She knows that tougher initial monsters and flawless combat victories will yield far higher rewards in the end. To survive, she has already upgraded her barracks using precious divine power, hoping to win even though a perfect victory feels impossible. But that is fine. Just because she cannot do it does not mean an expert cannot. Luckily for her, her sister happens to be connected with a true powerhouse. With some smart guidance, she is bound to easily lock down this massive opening windfall. She sends over a screenshot, calling him a big shot brother and asking for advice. He tells her to get ready, noting that her current monster wave setup is incredibly lucky. Even with those level 3 goblins, her buffed level 2 units should win easily. Winning with her own troops shouldn't be hard. Seo Hyuk is absolutely steaming, so what if he is a powerhouse? Does being a powerhouse mean he can just toy with her? She thinks it, then speaks. She demanded he teach her troop control, not play games, but learning troop control from him. He is stunned. Even if he wanted to teach her, could she even use his methods? His style of troop control lets soldiers handle their own footwork, while he only calls the charge or retreat. Once that is done, the battle is won. These techniques are high level enough to leave veteran experts scratching their heads. The truth is, troop control is basically worthless against absolute power, since he wins by crushing his enemies. Her request is just an excuse to secure a perfect victory, and he sees right through it. Just then, her system alerts her to a trade request from her friend. The trade comes with a note. He says he cannot teach her what she wants, but he has already sent her the exact result she was looking to get. She must collect it at the crystal platform, sparking her curiosity instantly. Hurrying over, she retrieves 2 cards and checks their high-tier info. It summons a level 4 Minotaur guard that costs 0 leadership points. These summoned beasts also enjoy all of her lord bonuses as well. Seo Hyuk rubs her eyes in disbelief, staring at the cards. After a long pause, she sighs that a true powerhouse is truly on another level. 1 card would have been amazing, but he gave her 2. Who is he flexing on? Despite her complaining, her hands are flying through the trade market right now. She searches the Lord's Order channel, filtering for anything with card in its name. Finding absolutely nothing on the market, she smiles radiantly, feeling like a winner. All women think alike when receiving such a precious and rare gift. She vows he will never get these back. Meanwhile, he was right about one thing. Against overwhelming power, tactical troop control really does not mean a thing. Seo Hyuk is about to prove this, the moment she drops her protective shield. She summons the level 4 Minotaur guard. The beast senses a swarm of incoming goblins, lowers his massive horns, and launches a fearless charge. 3 level 3 goblins at the front are instantly slammed off their feet. Before they can even stand, a crushing blow rains down on them. Without any bonuses to protect them, one single combo leaves them near death. The Minotaur easily finishes them off, giving Seo Hyuk her perfect start. Clearing the island yields an incredibly generous reward for her perfect victory. The system logs her progress at 1 out of 10, awarding rare gear. She gets the Star of Positioning, a specialty upgrade, and 4,000 rations. Thanks to his constant support, she has more food and water than she needs. She realizes her entire survival depends on this powerhouse. She's basically living in luxury, compared to other lords in the channel who struggle to survive on dry, instant noodles. She suspects he must know her in real life to help this much. Otherwise, considering how valuable black soil is, he would never help her out. Yet her constant probing reveals nothing. Smiling, she happily collects her rewards. While they came from her own hard work, none of them actually help her much. Once again, her dream of being completely independent is shattered, it seems. She has to keep relying on him. Sighing, she decides to trade him all her useless items, considerate paying him back for the meals. Song reads the item description. It is the Star of Positioning, a unique pair of glasses. By entering any name, they can locate survivors in the area, but it has a 2-day cooldown. After seeing the cooldown, he hands her 2 level 4 cards, knowing absolute. Crushing power can guarantee a perfect result without any surprises, just as she sends the trade request. His own battle finally ends. The system logs his difficult achievements one after another, placing him at 2 out of 10. Perfect battle hits level 6. Beacon of the Night hits level 6, boosting his vision by 6 meters. He destroys one island, choosing to keep the one with the valuable saplings, since his magic has not recovered and a field of corpses cannot go to waste. He spends 1 attribute point on spirit to push his magic to 30. She wonders why he sent these rewards. He tells her that monsters come at him in relentless waves, unlike other survivors who might not see a single beast all day, when resources cannot keep up with. Construction expansion loses its purpose, so his strategy is to demolish every island lacking a specialty to gather a mountain of gear, taking the girls. Meager offerings would only bring him shame, but Song insists she does not need this gear, explaining she has received so much from him and wants to give back. Not bad, he thinks, a rare breed indeed. He actually feels a bit small compared to her. Unable to turn her down, he accepts, planning to make it up to her later. He tells her that it is fine, no acting coy. Food is growing scarce lately and their supply was barely enough, so this card is a godsend. Soon, he initiates another trade and hands her every beast card he recently collected, instructing her to exchange them for whatever she needs most, like building materials, anything but water. Song beams because he used the word ours, signaling they are a team. The 19 cards in her hand are literal lifesavers. Feeling secure, her mind begins to wander back to the past and she remembers how her sister used to tease him for no reason. That happy look is still fresh since they split. She decides it is her turn to tease him. Surely nobody would mind. She asks if she can really trade them for anything she wants, and he confirms. He asks if something is wrong or if she lacks anything urgent. The girl flashes a mischievous grin, complaining that it is too cold, dark, and incredibly quiet at night. She wants a warm house, a bright light, and someone to share her bed. She blushes slightly afterward, but wants to see how he handles the impossible request. He is completely stunned since he has braved the freezing, lonely nights on the island. It is brutal for a young girl surviving without even a roof to block the rain. Her impossible request is truly what she needs. But check this out, is she actually hinting he should move in with her? It is a genuine possibility. He tells her he has everything she described, jokingly asking if she is trying to trade those cards for him. A house, a light, and he can warm her bed. Song bursts out laughing and fires back, calling him boss and uncle, asking him to take care of her. Who is she? Calling an uncle, he playfully shoots back, insisting he meant what he said. Why not give up her desolate island and join him? He is short-handed and needs a girlfriend too. She wonders how he can be so smooth, thinking some might mistake him for an old rogue, but she knows him too well to be fooled. Understanding him completely, his words deeply move her, making her want to say yes immediately. But she worries he will judge her as too easy, leaving her completely torn. Since she does not want to be his girlfriend, he offers her free food and lodging instead. No worries, but is she coming? Loneliness is part of it, but he genuinely needs the help, trading, constant battles, washing, cooking, and maintaining the defense tower, handling those random night raids with just 3 points. A physique has him run ragged from dawn to dark. If this keeps up, his dragon body will collapse sooner or later. A girl this attractive and this trustworthy does not come along often, and he is not letting her slip away. Song Hyuk is shocked at how fast he demoted her, without the title of girlfriend. How is she supposed to feel secure, especially with a guy whose name could draw crowds of admirers in the world chat, leaving absolutely no place for her? He simply tells her to use the Star of Positioning to find him. Song Hyuk smiles because fate is a funny thing. Who would have guessed a familiar stranger could become an acquaintance, with something deeper down the road not being out of the question? She thinks a broken lord like her has nothing. Anyone who wants that title can happily have it. He smiles too, because if she joins him, she can share this incredibly heavy burden with him, since surviving all alone is too terrifying. That is why people gather so gladly in an age like this. A simple yes or no works. Playing games is totally useless. Everyone is busy. Becoming a follower means giving up her lord's status, so he truly has to treat her incredibly well to be worth that trust. Besides, her pitiful expression reminds him so much of his very first girlfriend, living under one roof, surely. Will she not eventually become his? Watch close, he thinks his lucky break has finally arrived. By the star of positioning, they cannot meet for at least 2 days, meaning there is nothing to do but wait. After the chat ends with both satisfied, he heads to the crystal platform to organize his territory, finding a D-grade mixed tree sapling of a specialty type. An immature mixed forest, 7 species now, 1 rare, 1 high-grade and 5 low-grade. They provide no resources yet but can grow. The larger the area and richer the variety, the greater the final harvest will be. Its description says to give it time. Once mature, it will yield not just wood, but mushrooms and other surprises, while adding 30 to territory prosperity. Long-term investment, he muses, a sapling yielding absolutely nothing yet still carrying that high level of 30 prosperity. Once it scales up, it will be a forest treasure. What hides inside? Forest goes without saying. Fine, he will gladly give it time. His prosperity has hit 211 points, but seriously, what is that number even for? Since not even the experts in the channel discuss it, yet nobody believes it is just for show. He cannot crack it, so he decides to stop overthinking it. Next, he reviews the rewards from destroying those islands. For equipment, there are only 3 shields with +2 defense, usable by soldiers and individuals with no troop. Bonuses showing that good gear is getting harder to come by. The specialty card he once thought dropped at an incredibly sky-high rate is nowhere to be found. 1 set each of cotton shoes and cotton pants, indispensable for extreme weather. 4 food, he has only 850 grams of biscuits and military rations, plummeted to just 2,000 grams, but since his troops are exceptionally strong with no combat losses and fed solely for upkeep, he feels no pressure. Yet the chat channel reveals that other lords whose troops sit at level 1 or 2 are having a wretched time. He does fine against weak monsters, but anything above level 3 is a disaster. Scraping a win is one thing, but his troop strength gets gutted by 70 or 80%. Once he refills those losses and covers daily upkeep, nothing is left. Most lords live hand to mouth, overjoyed just to save a single soldier or salvage a few hundred grams of resources. It is brutal. That is the reality for most. Only those rare few with elite units or powerful skills actually make a fortune, but those level 3 monsters, pure fodder, especially meeting his Minotaur warrior. Still, goblins are just beginner trash. Expecting high-grade loot from them is unrealistic. Right now, his only play is grinding them in survival challenges to bank achievements and collect attribute points. That is the real path to challenge stronger monsters. That is his road to success, but clear as it is, he has no idea how long he must wait, no clue. Thankfully, the upgrade card Song Yen gave him solves his urgent need at the perfect moment, so he uses the C-grade card on his fish tank. With food scarce across the board, survival is top priority. The tank becomes a C1 grade fish-producing water tank, taking up 8 square meters and yielding 5,000 grams of random fish and shrimp daily, with a system description that practically dares him to doubt it. Yields catches every day, as long as he keeps it filled, adding 40 points to his territory prosperity. He notes this requires a massive territory, since most people would not even have space to place it. An extra 8 square meters for 3,000 more grams of fish daily is a huge win, from barely scraping by to having actual leftovers. It all comes down to a single upgrade card, and whatever he cannot eat, he raises in the tank. He sleeps better with food stockpiled. Every survivor possesses a system-gifted specialty, so starving is basically off the table. But survival is not just about keeping full. Without army, you cannot fend off invaders. Killing monsters takes soldiers, and soldiers take food and water. It is a brutal dilemma with no way out. Food rations and water grow scarcer daily, choking his army's strength and recruitment, threatening their very safety. Besides, in the face of survival, the choice between expanding territory and gathering resources looks like the system is quietly forcing people to stop occupying islands entirely, and worse if luck runs bad and troops die with 0 reward. Brutal. The bind is obvious, since specialty output is never enough. Those with foresight have woken The importance of farming, though plain soil is too slow, helpless against extreme weather and useless in tiny plots, while cheap acquiring the land and seeds and greenhouse materials stumps even the farsighted. Over in the Women's Legion, Seong Yu gets lucky while attacking a massive plant monster, walking away with a giant pumpkin weighing over 10 pounds. Best of all, it holds seeds. And as unscientific as it is for a huge pumpkin to carry only 10, the description leaves her feeling like she hit the jackpot, since these seeds can be planted and carry sky-high resistance to extreme weather while being a fast-growing variety. So she hands a portion over to her alliance leader. Gina happens to know someone holding a special black soil that drastically raises crop yields, shortens